It is 6:31. Will you please join me and stand as we have a moment of silence to honor the men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice? And now in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this incredible evening, Lord, that once again Canyon Lakers get to come together and make Canyon Lake an even better place than it is every single day, Lord. Please be with our leaders, Lord. Be with our public safety personnel. Protect everyone, Lord. Let us enjoy this Christmas season and make sure that we send love to all those that make this holiday so special. And in your name, amen. So can you bear with me? I'm going to let my little girl lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Think you can do it? Think you can do it? Okay, let's do it. Come on, put your hand over your heart. Here we go. There's the flag right there. I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job, babe. Good job, honey. That was better than a couple years ago. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Castillo?
Here.
Councilmember Dane?
Here.
Councilmember Terry?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty?
Here.
Mayor Smith?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
All right, closed session report.
Thank you, Mayor. There is no reportable action on the closed session today.
Perfect. So tonight, I get to do something pretty awesome as my last act of mayor. Tonight, we get to recognize Santa Claus. And as funny as that sounds, here in Canyon Lake, Santa Claus is something special to us, not just you, right, baby girl? Because Santa Claus is represented by so many different clubs throughout our entire community. Santa Claus always finds a way to show up, whether it's with the ski club or the junior women's club or whatever it might be. So I'm excited that we're going to honor Santa. Now, keep in mind, we had to do a certificate of recognition because we couldn't do Citizen of the Month because he lives in the North Pole, right? So he's not a Canyon Laker, he lives in the North Pole. So I'm excited, and his elves, that's right. I'm excited that we are going to present a certificate, and we're going to take a picture of the entire council with Santa Claus. So Santa Claus is going to come up here, so please can I have the council join us as we take a photo with Santa Claus. You too, baby. All right, Santa, what do you want to do? Over here. Here you go. You should give it to him. Yeah, you should give him that. Look, we're going to take a picture. Okay. Oh, there you go.
I'm honored. Thank you very much.
Yeah, now go get to work. Go get to work.
Very cool certificate. He didn't even read it. It was kind of funny. I wish he would have.
Santa leaving?
Santa's leaving because he's got to go to work.
Why?
Because your list is really long and expensive. That's why Dad works 4 jobs. Madam Clerk, the meeting is now yours.
Okay.
Don't worry, Mommy's coming.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, so it is my pleasure at this time to open the floor for nominations for a member of the council to serve as mayor for the coming year. Do we have any nominations?
I do. I nominate Dale Welty.
I second that.
Any other nominations? Okay, we will close the floor and take a roll call vote, please, to nominate Councilmember Welty as mayor for the coming year. Councilmember Castillo?
Absolutely.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
100%.
Councilmember Terry?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Congratulations.
It never felt so good to be fired.
You always say
All right, and now it's my pleasure to open up the floor for nominations for a member of the council to serve as mayor pro tem for the coming year. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Councilmember Mark Terry.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please, to nominate Councilmember Terry as mayor pro tem for the coming year. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Terry?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And incoming Mayor Welty.
Aye.
Congratulations, you're the mayor pro tem. So at this time, Mayor Welty, do you have a few words you'd like to say?
I'll get the mic to work. It's just been an honor to serve with this council, and I can tell you, moving to the mayor is just kind of a great thing. You kind of work your way up, and you just feel honored that your cohort here supports you in that, and that's a great thing for me, that they're stepping up. And I will tell you, working with this particular group has just been amazing. I've been on a number of boards, a number of commissions, that type of thing, and these are the best 4 people I've ever worked with as a group. I can tell you, and it's just been amazing. And I want to say, Jeremy's been the most incredible leader for the past 2 years. One of the things when you get, the Brown Act has rules about not being able to talk to each other. So as such, there's these walls that you can't go past. And I, being the slightly paranoid person I am, will look at somebody I can't talk to and look at their face and say, clearly they don't like me, right? Clearly they're trying to get to me. Clearly they're trying to make my life difficult. And granted, as an adult, I step up and say it's not true. But I have this guy calling me up and says, "How you feeling? How you doing? Do you have any concerns? We just, I want to tell you, you're doing a great job." So anytime you start feeling like somehow you're a dysfunctional group, you've got the mayor, former mayor, stepping in, giving me that call and said, "I want you to understand that we are a group, and as a group, we all think you're doing wonderful." And so that kind of leadership is hard to come by. The level of leadership across the function of government he's done is amazing too. I don't go to bed at night going, "Oh my God, that mayor, what the hell is he going to do to us next?" Oh, no, you go to bed sleeping because you know that you trust the people at the helm. And when you can do that to the leader, when you can do the other group, I'll tell you, it makes it so much better. And this job in the council isn't exactly easy. It's not, it's difficult and it's complex, and having the group we have makes it very easy. So anyway.
Any other members of the city council wish to say something to our outgoing Mayor Smith?
I do. So I think other than you, I'm the only one on this dais who's held this job. And I remember distinctly how much extra goes into being mayor. Although your vote is weighted the exact same, the role and the ceremonial matters and the constant connection with the community, it's a lot. And you not only did it for 1 year, we asked you to do it for 2. And we did that because of not only who you are, but your enthusiasm. It's contagious. And when you are high and everything is good, Canyon Lake is really good. And so I want to say thank you to your amazing wife for letting us keep you in this position for 2 years, because it's a lot. And we are grateful for you for allowing the community to keep him in this role for 2 whole years. But you did an amazing job. You are absolutely a mentor, and we're going to miss you as mayor, but you get a well-deserved break.
Right?
Well-deserved break.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll go next. I wouldn't be here on this council if it wasn't for Jeremy, good or bad. But I also appreciate you stepping up for 2 years to do this. It's a lot of work. I have definitely appreciated your support and kind of training as I stepped into this role with no prior experience and no idea what I was getting into. So I appreciate the help and the guidance. I appreciate our candid conversations, and I think I can say anything, and it's taken in the manner in which it's meant, and I appreciate that. And now that you have a new baby,
Yeah.
get a little more family time.
Thank you.
And
I
thanks to
appreciate
Alyssa.
that. Thank you, yep.
I'm horrible at this stuff. Same gratitude as Councilmember Dane has, same points. You come into this position, and it's eye-opening right off the bat. I thank you for your generosity. You're so often when you're the new guy, you think everything you're saying, you're almost afraid to say anything because you're afraid that you're going to say something dumb. And you have never, I'm sure Councilwoman Dane will tell you the same thing, you have never let us feel that there is a dumb question or that we're going about it the wrong way. I think that the people of Canyon Lake should be so appreciative, not so much as your time, not only for the time that you have spent as mayor, but when you got elected, we changed Canyon Lake at that point in time. And I think that was a pivotal change for our city, for our residents. And I can't tell you how sharp this guy is. You try to sit back and you know you're going to have a conversation with him, and you try to prepare to the best of your ability, and I'll think, hey, I got the mayor on this one, and 2 seconds later, I'm damn, you know? You are such a good man, and we've had some conversations just recently, and I admire your approach. And I can only hope that in the days, weeks, and years to come, that I can follow in your footsteps, not only as a member of this council, but as a husband, as a father. One day you'll have grandchildren, and maybe I could tell you a little something. Then I get to come into play, right? But thank you so much for all that you have done, not only for me, the council, but our residents. And I'm so happy about your new addition to your family, and thank you, and I love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're not even close to being done yet, so, can we do that one first? Okay, so we're gonna do what Councilmember Smith really loves and switch things up a bit. So
crap.
we have a presentation from staff that we would like to give to you, so
Seriously?
Councilmember Castillo?
Staff and council.
And the new mayor. The new mayor.
Wow. Look at that.
You can see this.
Oh, that is so cool.
This was put together by staff. This is your State of the City event program and the article. And this just commemorates what an amazing year we had
Wow.
because you were our leader.
Wow. Thank you so much. Oh my God. So cool. Thank you guys, seriously. Wow.
You want to say about this?
There we go. One's not enough, so we have to step up and do a second one. And this was uniquely, well, everything's uniquely for you, but we wanted to give you something.
Oh, that's cool. Come on.
Something you could have.
That's cool.
And this is from the National Honorable Mayor Association, which we created here about 10 minutes ago. So this is something, because of your
That's so
speed love
cool.
for drag racing, this will
Yep.
fit right in with everything else. And it's to thank you for your exceptional leadership
you.
and support. So we're amazed.
That is awesome.
I'm not giving it to you quite yet.
That's
We
so
we
cool.
want you to come up and stand up with us
Okay.
and take some pictures with
Okay.
this between us. So,
Okay.
and once you two are willing to take the picture, we'll hand you the.
Okay, deal. Let's do that. Go sit next to
I have
me.
a teenager, so I always have to make.
Is that it? Do I get to say things now?
We have 7 more, so settle in.
No, stop.
Okay, next up, from the office of Senator Kelly Ciardo, we have Angelica Austin.
Angelica.
Hi, I'm Angelica from State Senator Ciardo's office, and I am here to present you a certificate on behalf of the senator commemorating your amazing achievement of leading this city for 2 whole years. Personal message from me is when I found out that I would be in charge of Canyon Lake for our office, I was like, oh, I'm going to be so nervous. I'm going to have to learn a whole new council. I'm going to have to learn a whole new demographic of people and what they care about so I can properly, get those emotions and feelings to the senator. And being able to actually speak to you as like a one-on-one person from little old me to a mayor was one of the most brilliant experiences I've had as a district representative. So being able to grow as a person, as a staffer, along with you in your career as a mayor, has been an honor.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you've done the city proud.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
And the senator as well. The senator's
Appreciate
proud.
that. Of course. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. It's so sweet of you. Appreciate that. Are we gonna do pictures after? Is that what we're gonna do? What do you wanna do?
Yes, we will do a recess after.
Okay, and that's when we'll do, okay.
Okay, next up, from the office of Assemblyman Bill Asaley, we have Casey Deaver.
Casey.
Well, hello, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Casey Deaver, and I'm here on behalf of Assemblyman Bill Asaley's office. And Mr. Mayor, it's an honor to get to be here, and I know just in this time that I've spent around you how much you care about your city and how much effort that you put into it, and taking the time to meet with us. You met with the Assemblyman recently, and just showing that great leadership skills that you have, that you bring to the table. So thank you for taking the time to do that and continue to do that, especially for those 2 consecutive years. I know it takes a lot of time and effort. So on behalf of the Assemblyman and myself, thank you so much for that, and looking forward to continuing our relationship
Thank you,
going
Casey.
forward.
Appreciate that,
Absolutely.
man. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next, the office of Supervisor Karen Spiegel, we have Melania Castellanos.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, council. My name is Melania, and I'm here on behalf of Supervisor Karen Spiegel, just to honor and recognize outgoing Mayor Smith. You're an incredible leader. It's been awesome working with you, and the supervisor is really appreciative of everything you've done for the city and just, collaboration with our office and with the county. So we're really appreciative. You will be missed, but thank you for everything that you've done. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
From Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, we have Jack Ferguson.
Thanks for joining us, Jack. I guess you got a presentation for us too after this.
I think so.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. Oh, you don't? Slideshow? I mean, Darcy told me they have a slideshow and everything. Just kidding.
Well, she would set me up for something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm sure there was communication on that. Anyway, I'm a director from the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water Department, and on behalf of our district, we'd like to thank you, Mayor Smith, for your leadership and your efforts that you've done in cooperation with the Water District, because I know you don't have a lot of concern about your water since it's such under good leadership and
Right.
there are no issues.
No.
That's what Darcy told me.
Yeah.
No.
Sounds like an
Anyway,
endorsement. Yep.
She is out doing what she does best, which is at a water conference representing all of us for water use for the Colorado River. And she regrets not being here tonight and wanted me to thank you for the monthly coffees that you two host. And for those that may have not attended these events, and a quarterly evening gathering allowing Canyon Lake residents to spend more time on issues or concerns they may have with both the mayor and Director Burke. She looks forward to continuing that tradition with Mayor Welty.
Yep.
You have plenty of time, I know that. Mayor Smith, we appreciate the last 2 years you have served as mayor, that adversity and challenges you and your council have overcome, the successes you celebrate. Congratulations on the job well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Mayor from
Oh.
the Riverside County Transportation Commission.
I was just going to say good things about you.
Good evening, Ann Mayer, Executive Director of the Riverside County Transportation Commission. I'm joined this evening by Aaron Hake, the Deputy Executive Director of RCTC, and it is a privilege to recognize Commissioner Smith for his service representing Canyon Lake on the RCTC board. Not only as mayor, but also as council member, he has been a steady, consistent voice for regional investment in transportation. Not only has he represented Canyon Lake, he has represented this area of the county very, very well. Two things that stand out to me. There are several, but I'm just going to talk about two. He runs a very tight ship with a meeting, as you may have noticed. So he has served as the chair of our Budget and Implementation Committee and has done an outstanding job there, and also has the distinction, and it's a very rare distinction, he served on RCTC at the same time as our representative from the city of Calamasa, which would be your dad.
Yep.
So we had a father-son Smith duo at RCTC, and that made it double special for us to have such talented people there. So thank you very much
Thank you.
for all of your service. We appreciate everything you've done at RCTC.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That was so nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
John Grande,
Seriously?
Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce.
So I was sitting here and I was reminded myself when we first started to work together. You became mayor right around the same time I got on the board for the chamber. And our first official capacity together was co-moderating the POA forums.
right.
And what I realized very quickly was how open-minded, fair, bright he was. We had a lot of fun, but it was also it was evident that I think you did a very good job, and I was grateful to ride on your coattails.
Thank you.
And since then I've discovered that Jeremy Smith has been a huge supporter of the chamber and the businesses here. And in addition to that, I feel like I've gained a friend. So thank you very much for your service.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have Brennan and Chico here from the Canyon Lake Firefighters Association.
Thanks, guys, for making it out.
On behalf of the Canyon Lake Firefighters Association, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank and recognize Mr. Mayor Smith for his leadership, dedication, and many accomplishments during his term as mayor for this great city of Canyon Lake. To show our appreciation and recognition for the hard work and commitment to our community you proudly demonstrated well, Mayor, I am honored to present to you tonight the certificate of appreciation. So thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, I have a certificate for you from the Office of Ken Calvert. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight, but they wanted to congratulate you.
Thank you.
And with that, I think we're done.
I can close it out. I
You
can
can
say the
close it
final
out.
things now. Wow, did not expect any of this. I don't. It's tough for me because I absolutely love this community so much, and I look in the audience and I see so many friends, so many people who've called me at 9 o'clock at night and 1 o'clock in the morning, and when incidents occur. I just wish I could give more time to this city because that's how much I love it. My beautiful wife is sitting right there in the audience with my two beautiful older children, now a third one, which I can now get to say 3 kids. Not used to it, it's only been 3 weeks. And she puts up with my nonsense. She puts up with the phone calls late at night, and she loves this city as much as I do, and I'm so blessed to have her by my side. I'm so blessed that she was willing to let me run in 2018 when Casey Castillo and myself were elected. But I don't want it to be about me tonight. Clearly it is. It's about the new leadership, and I know that Mayor Welty is going to do an incredible job, but I want to say a few things about this council, some things that you might not know. Councilwoman Casey Castillo I don't know how she has done it, but she continues to find a way to duplicate herself and be anywhere, everywhere, all the time. This woman is absolutely incredible, and if you haven't had the opportunity to get to know her, she's got your back no matter what. And for me, it has made a huge difference in my opportunity as being mayor for this community, because I get to run so many things by her, and she smacks me silly with the permission of my wife, of course, and she keeps me in line. So Councilwoman Casey Castillo is an incredible person, and I'm so thankful that her and I have built the relationship that we have. We were both elected at the same time. We didn't run together, but we should have because of what we learned about each other. But I just want to say simply, thank you so much. Councilwoman Jennifer Dane, she tells a story of her being here because of me, and I have to share this story. I was at Bass Pro Shop when I called her, and I said, Jennifer, you need to apply to be a city council member. And she goes, what are you talking about? What in the world is that? Why would I do such a thing? What's the requirement? All these questions came, and I go, you're the perfect candidate. You're a business owner. You understand the nuts and bolts of what it means to run a business. She was, in my mind, the perfect applicant, and when she applied, the council approved her as being the councilwoman, and she's been just that. She continues to ask questions that always surprise me, and I love the way her and I banter. It's very professional, but she keeps me in line, and she always questions everything that we're doing. So her leadership has been absolutely incredible, and everyone in this room needs to tell her that she needs to run again for re-election. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Mark Terry, newly to our council, he talks of stories of him and I talking all the time, and he is an incredible man with such a big heart. I don't know if you've known that or not, but when this man speaks, it's legitimate. It comes from the heart. It's real. It's not, as we call, being a politician. Mark Terry was meant for this. If I can just say that very clear, he was meant to serve his community, and he didn't even know it until he applied and took the appointment position. And it has been an honor to serve with you. You've and I have had built a strong relationship, and we've been able to look at policy together. And lastly, our new mayor, Mr. Welty, I'm very proud of him, and I know that his leadership is going to be great. What Mr. Welty brings that some might not know is his experience on the POA and applying that to the city. And sometimes we have to remind him that we're not directors, we're council members, and we're not a general manager, we're a city manager. Dale's head is always in the right space for Canyon Lake, and it has been a pleasure being able to serve next to him, and he's been a great mayor pro tem, and I know you're going to be even a better mayor. But with that, I want to simply say God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate it, and thank you for supporting your city. I will continue, even though I'm not mayor, I will always answer my phone. Donna Ritchie knows. I will always answer my phone. I'm there for this community. I will continue to serve as hard as I can for this community, and this council is doing the same thing. So with that, I want to say thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and Merry Christmas.
And if you don't mind, can we take a brief recess to take some photos and switch up some seats here? Okay.
We're going to do a little bit of admin. Give us about 10 minutes. So, but we found it, so I better, there we are, now we're official. Moving on to the next item is going to be Citizen of the Month. And Citizen of the Month is John Grande. Would we like to have John come up? Stand right up here. One of us on each side.
First official duty.
My first official duty is John Grande, Citizen of the Month. John Grande has done an amazing job with the chamber. Jeannie Odell just left, was his predecessor, and you always wonder what's going to happen when the new guy comes on. And, I'm always kind of trying to measure my expectations.
Microphone, Dill.
Trying to measure my expectations, and John came in. I'm in training, remember in training? But John came in and just blew it away, and he has just done an amazing job. He's gotten people involved. I think you've done some incredible things. One was your informational session on e-commerce, and so I just want to say what a wonderful job. I do not work with John as much as my partner in crime here. We are on the Mark and I are on the what committee is that we call it now? Economic Development Committee, and Mark has taken on the chamber as one of his parts of that, and I'm going to let Mark say a few words.
First of all, the opportunity to work with you, to work with your entire chamber has been an honor. Give you a little background on how we come up with some of the crazy ideas that we do. We meet for breakfast, we meet for dinner, and we just start spitballing. And you are a welcome partner to the city of Canyon Lake, to this council, and could not have come up with a better Citizen of the Month than you, John Grande. Congratulations, and I love you.
Great, thank you very much.
So John, yes, in recognition of your compassion, dedication, outstanding service to the Canyon Lake community, thank you for all that you do. You are the Citizen of the Month, and we have the girls here ready to take the picture.
I'm trying.
I have my own microphone now. It's kind of a nice feeling. So, okay, moving on to community reports. We're going to start out with, presentation, excuse me. We're going to have a presentation by the Riverside County Transportation Commission, and we're going to talk about the traffic relief plan.
We are. Good evening again. Ann Mayer, the Executive Director of the Riverside County Transportation Commission. I'm joined this evening again by Aaron Hake, the Deputy Executive Director, and Italia Garcia. Italia is our Community Engagement Manager. Thank you very much. If we could put the PowerPoint presentation up, that would be great. So our goal tonight is to present our draft traffic relief plan and to be able to answer any questions that you might have. So, who is RCTC? RCTC is the Regional Transportation Planning Agency for Riverside County. The board is 34 members, an elected official, either a council member or a mayor from each of the 28 cities in Riverside County, all 5 county supervisors, and a governor's appointee, and that is the Caltrans District 8 Director. So, our goal is to focus on all areas of transportation. We cover roads, sidewalks, pedestrian, bicycle facilities, cover funding for bus transit, for Metrolink. We operate the 91 express lanes, the I-15 express lanes. So basically, anything that has to do with transportation in Riverside County, we are a primary funder. and/or the agency that delivers the projects. And I know here for Canyon Lake, you're 2 ways out. You're either on the 15 or the 215, and I apologize in advance for the many, many, many years of construction on both of those corridors, and there is more to come. In addition, RCTC is the managing agency for the Western Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority. So I'm also the executive director of the Conservation Authority, and Councilmember Dane represents the city of Canyon Lake on the RCA, just as Councilmember Smith represents Canyon Lake on the RCTC. So how are RCTC and Canyon Lake coordinating related to transportation services? Again, as I mentioned, RCTC provides funding, both we transfer state and federal funding sources for transportation, but also we are the administrator of the half-cent sales tax here in Riverside County, also known as Measure A. So not only do we fund regional projects, but every month RCTC writes a check to the city of Canyon Lake that can go towards your local capital improvement program. And several years ago, we advanced many years of your local Measure A funds so you could do your complete project on the Railroad Canyon, your Railroad Canyon rehab project. The Railroad Canyon I-15 interchange project, we led that project on behalf of the city of Lake Elsinore, and we finished with the I-15 express lanes down to Cajalco, and the next phase will be extending the express lanes all the way down through Lake Elsinore. So we are quite active here in this area. So why are we here tonight? Back in 2016, the commission did a strategic assessment that looked at the big picture of Riverside County and what our transportation needs are. And certainly, I don't need to tell you that transportation and or lack of mobility challenges related to congestion, lack of available and reliable bus or rail service really impacts people's daily lives. Our needs here and the assessment that we completed is that by 2040, there would be at least $23 billion in need just in Riverside County alone, and we had a funding gap of about $10 billion. So the needs here are significant. That is not counting the significant needs related to passenger rail and transit operating and maintenance costs. RTA serves the communities in this area with bus service, and it is a challenge in a county this big to be able to provide timely service that people can depend on. 2016, 2023, not a lot has changed. We had updated a traffic relief plan in 2020. Obviously, the world changed a bit when COVID hit, but traffic is now back. Traffic is now back at a greater volumes than it ever was before COVID, and so the needs are still there. The needs are growing. Our commission has asked us to go out to communities throughout Riverside County with a draft traffic relief plan to seek your input, what's important for your community, your constituents, and to give your constituents an opportunity to raise questions and to provide input. Aaron is going to take it from here and walk you through what is included in the draft traffic relief plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the draft traffic relief plan is not just another government document. It is based on community input that we've received from throughout Riverside County. It's important to us that we put forward something that reflects what the people want and what they've told us. We did extensive public outreach prior to the pandemic. We did social media campaigns. We did public opinion polling that has statistical significance. We did telephone town halls. We gave everyone the opportunity to provide input on what they wanted. The update to this plan builds on that input, and we are yet again doing more public outreach right now, and that's why we're here. We appreciate Commissioner Smith inviting us as part of that countywide outreach that will continue for the next few months. So what we've developed is a program, a $25 billion program throughout Riverside County to update this county's infrastructure to where it needs to be. But keep in mind, what's in this plan is not funded unless the voters approve funding for it. Ann mentioned Measure A is currently a half-cent sales tax that the voters have approved through 2039. RCTC has received legislative authorization to propose to the voters another 1 cent sales tax that we could consider, and that's why it's important for us to talk about this document before those decisions are made. So let's get into the plan. Riverside County is huge. It's geographically the size of New Jersey. We go to the Arizona border all the way to Corona, Temecula, to Beaumont. So the traffic relief plan divides up the county into 3 sections, the way Measure A does. You have the Palo Verde Valley, the very far east, that's Blythe. Then you have the Coachella Valley, and then you have western Riverside County, which is where most of the population is. It's where we are today. Up on the screen, I don't expect anyone to read it, but it's just to demonstrate kind of the area we're talking about where these improvements will be made. What we've done in the traffic relief plan is create different investment categories. As Ann mentioned, there are many modes of transportation, from highways to interchanges, to public transportation, bicycle and pedestrian facilities, commuter assistance programs. I'm guessing you may have seen or actually been helped by those little white tow trucks that rove the I-15 freeway during peak periods. They come and pull cars to the side of the road that have broken down. They take you to a safe spot, fix your flat tire, give you a tank of gas, and keep traffic moving and keep everyone safe. That's a program that RCTC operates and that is needed more throughout the county. And then we have major corridors in this county still yet to be built that are needed to accommodate the growth. One in the vicinity of this area is the Ethonac corridor. There's a vision by the county and that RCTC supports to extend Ethonac all the way to Lake Elsinore, punch through and connect to the 15, so that there's another east-west connection in this area. So the draft traffic relief plan proposes investments in all of these areas, plus the environmental mitigation that will be needed to construct these projects, so that we have the adequate investment to get all those things done. And on the screen here, you'll see the sort of how we would propose to divvy up the pie. So if there was a funding measure, this is approximately how the funds would be proposed to be distributed. So, don't have time tonight to go through every single project that's in the traffic relief plan throughout the county. So what we wanted to do is highlight projects in the Canyon Lake area that might be relevant to the residents that live here in the different funding categories. I do want to note that copies of the traffic relief plan have been provided to the council. We also have copies in the back for the public, and the entire plan can be found at trafficreliefplan.org. We have a slide with a QR code that the public can scan to access the document in its entirety. I want to briefly walk through the sample projects. We're proposing an additional lane on I-15 from the San Diego County line up to Cajalco, which is where the current current express lanes terminate. Ann, could you get my water, please? Thank you. Okay, better. So adding a lane on I-15 to deal with congestion. There are several interchanges in this area that are outdated and in need of updating. So the interchanges at Nichols Road, Central, Bundy Canyon, Wildemar Trail, and a new interchange at Franklin Street just south of the Railroad Canyon interchange. We're proposing to invest in improving those interchanges. Safe streets and roads category. This is a significant category for us. This is where we heard a lot of public input. Grand Avenue in Lake Elsinore is a project we've called out as in need of investment from a safety standpoint. But in this category, we're also proposing to send additional money directly to the city of Canyon Lake and other cities in the region. Just as Ann mentioned in Measure A, a portion of that money goes back to the city directly for this council to decide how it wishes to invest it. And so we propose to continue doing that again with the safe streets and roads investments so that you can do that at your discretion. Regional connectors, I mentioned the Ethonac Expressway proposal. Further to the south and east, we also have the reimagined State Route 79, which today kind of meanders through the Hemet and San Jacinto Valley and then down to Temecula. There's a long-standing $1 billion+ project that RCTC's been working on to connect the Hemet San Jacinto Valley to southwest Riverside County. So we propose to fund that as well. Public transportation, we're always hearing a demand for more reliable, more frequent public transit service throughout the region, whether that's bus or train. Active transportation through this area, the Butterfield Trail, this is a project the county's been working on. It's a north-south corridor that roughly parallels I-15. We're proposing to invest in that so that can be constructed. And then the environmental mitigation, every project's going to need some degree of environmental mitigation funding. The state of California is increasingly pressing for mitigation of what's called vehicle miles traveled. There's an assumption that the state has made that when you add a lane to a road, that you're going to create more driving, and that that's something that should be mitigated from an environmental standpoint. And in order to offset the more driving that occurs because you built the road, you may need to invest in more public transit. You may need to invest in some form of development that reduces trips because you're consolidating where people live and where people work. And so in order to build transportation projects such as perhaps widening I-15 or expanding our local road system, we'll need to make investments in these types of mitigation measures in order for them to be approved through the CEQA process. We also are proposing additional investments in the multiple species habitat conservation plan, which is administered by RCA, as Ann mentioned. That plan is what allows development and transportation to occur in a streamlined manner here. We have a lot of endangered species in Riverside County, and there are a lot of rules and regulations that we have to get through. And so if we want to get things built, the habitat plan is the way to get that done in a more reliable way. So what we're trying to do with the traffic relief plan is invest in a comprehensive suite of projects so that the county's visions for development, economic progress, mobility, quality of life, things that people want to do and get done can be addressed through one plan and one investment. So I mentioned public input earlier. 2023, we did a countywide public opinion poll. We had over 1,000 responses. They were a representative sample of the county, so we polled people from every part of the county in proportion to what the population of the county is to make sure that we had a fair representation. And what we found is that 80% of Riverside County voters believe that there is some or great need for investment in transportation. That is a very high number. It's evident to the voters of this county that something needs to be done. On the funding side, this isn't just traffic is bad, it's that we need more money. And so we asked them, what are your priorities? What are the things you would invest in? And so what we put on the screen are the categories that they said they want the most. The highest scoring category was keeping roads in good condition and pothole repair. It's probably not a surprise to many of you. And then followed closely there by reducing congestion and traffic jams. Then improving safety and reducing truck traffic congestion. This is one that's popped up recently as an increasing concern. And strikingly, 62% of residents in this particular area of the county said they would support a 1 cent sales tax measure to fund transportation. So, what would it mean if this plan came to fruition? If we had a funding measure to take all these projects from dream to reality, what would the economic impact be? So we commissioned an economic analysis by Beacon Economics, which has a lot of experience doing economic research in this area. And with a $25 billion investment as we proposed, they estimate that it would support 168,000 jobs, $10.9 billion in labor income, and nearly $31 billion of economic output over the 30-year planning horizon in which we'd hope to deliver these projects. That's significant. What I also want to note here is that each region of the county is proposed to receive its fair share of the funds. That's important to I think all of our cities and jurisdictions, that the money that's raised here stays here, it doesn't go somewhere else. So we estimated that in the western part of the county, where we are today, over a 30-year period, a 1 cent measure would generate about $20 billion of investment. And these would be the results. We also include in the traffic relief plan proposed accountability measures. We understand this is public money, and there does need to be accountability. There does need to be responsibility and a commitment to it that's not just words, but that's put into action. So the traffic relief plan proposes that there be mandatory audits and reviews of how the funds are being spent to ensure they're being invested according to what the plan says. The funds cannot be diverted by Sacramento or Washington to other purposes. These are local funds under our control. This is really important because increasingly state and federal governments are dictating what local government can do, what their funds can be used for, and if we want to control our own destiny, we may need to put measures like this forward so that we have something that is fully within our control. Another important feature of a potential measure, and that's in state law actually regarding RCTC, is that we cannot use more than 1% of sales tax funds for administrative salaries and benefits. So the overhead on what we do is extraordinarily low. We're very lean. We rely on a small staff, but we also heavily rely on the private sector, on consultants and professionals in the private sector to deliver these projects. Delivery is what's important to us. And finally, because a measure like this would be implemented by RCTC, you have a seat at the table along with all of your neighboring jurisdictions, the County of Riverside. As Commissioner Smith saw today, we had a big, robust meeting of the big regional issues, dealing with funding, dealing with policy, and there was a lot of discussion about collaboration, dialogue, and when you have communities in the desert working together with communities out here, recognizing that traffic just doesn't stop at the city limit, and that we have to address all these issues together, good things happen, and we've been able to do that at RCTC. So, wrapping up here, anyone watching on YouTube or anyone in this room, you can hold up your phone to the QR code. It'll take you right to the traffic relief plan. You can also go to trafficreliefplan.org, see the whole thing for yourself. We have a comment tool there, an online comment tool, and we encourage anyone listening to look at the plan and tell us what you think. Tell us what you like, and tell us what you don't like. We're okay with telling us what you don't like. It's important for us to know what the community prioritizes. And additionally, if there is anyone listening who would like us to come present to them and give them more detail and have a dialogue about what this is, we're happy to do that. Italia's here. She's the leader of our community engagement and would be happy to entertain whatever discussion you'd like to have. It's really important to us. And we welcome the city's comments as well from the city perspective. So there's our phone number. We're on social media. You can email us at trafficreliefplan@rctc.org, or you can just grab us at the end of this meeting. So you can find us however, or you can ask Commissioner Smith, and he'll find us pretty quick. So it's an honor to be here tonight. Ann, did you want to offer anything? We're good to go. So we'd happy to take any questions. We're also happy to talk later. Thank you.
Thank you. Council have any questions?
No questions? This is the first time, I think in a couple of years, we had COVID, so, I'm happy that RCTC, is doing this, and I jumped at the opportunity because I wanted my colleagues just to see how professional of an organization RCTC truly is. And I've known her, believe it or not, since 2010 when my dad was elected to the city council in Hemet. I had the opportunity to be introduced to RCTC. That's where I met Aaron as well. Ann is retiring, and Aaron is actually going to be taking over, and rightfully so. I won't go into how long Ann's been in transportation because she's only 42 years old, but it's well over 30 years. And it's been incredible to be able to see what this woman has done for the organization. See, what's weird about RCTC is we have so many different directors trying to fight for dollars in each different jurisdiction throughout the county. And they're in a tough spot because we are fighting for dollars to improve our transportation needs. For us, Canyon Lake 215-15, you have the Coachella Valley constantly fighting. We saw a little bit of that rhetoric today in our meeting. So I just wanted you to see firsthand some of the things that we're dealing with from a commission standpoint day in and day out. And we're going to have some tough decisions to be made looking next year, possibly after the month of March, to look at a sales tax measure to increase some funds regionally so that we can improve transportation needs. So thank you. I appreciate you bringing this forward and letting us know, and like always, absolutely professional, and I think RCTC is one of the best ran organizations, not just in Riverside County, but all of California. So appreciate you both being here, seriously.
Thank you. Thanks.
Comments, questions, any other? I have a couple of comments. One, I see you doing the Salt Creek Trail.
Yes, that was.
And from what I understand, or I imagine, or I hope not, is that the Salt Creek Trail ends at Canyon Lake, but doesn't go through Canyon Lake. That's what I understand, and I'm not on a committee. I just, from what I have drawn. I'd love you to hear me, tell me I'm wrong, and no, it goes all the way to Elsinore. But the Salt Creek plan, as I understand it, goes basically from Menifee on the border of Canyon Lake and goes all the way to Hammett, and yet it kind of ends where we are, which is great for our community that we could probably get to it and get on the trail, but it'd be nice if it came through our community, and that would be greatly appreciated.
Sure.
So we look into that. And
Sure, we'll look into that. That project's being delivered by the County of Riverside, and so I don't have the exact alignment details with me tonight, but we'd be happy to get back to you on what we understand the plan to be.
And the other, of course, vision is the overall bicycle train for a plan for the whole area. I see all these riverbeds and I see these kind of train areas that, to me, the hard part about bike paths is getting the land and the easement. I think throwing down a little bit of pavement really isn't the deal. It's how do you buy that piece of land that's the struggle. Yeah. So I just encourage you to take every opportunity that you have to make that happen. And maybe the idea is, what would the bicycle plan look like? At least what it looks like to date would be great. And I have another comment about vehicle miles traveled or trips traveled, and I aired this complaint, but basically, my son goes to school in Menifee, and we come by Palomar High School on the way home, and I can literally take a picture of a mile of cars dropping their kids off at the school. And when I have to go to Menifee, I look at my watch and I go, let's see, is it 8 o'clock? No, I don't want to go. Is it 2 o'clock? No, I don't want to drive through Menifee. Because I know that road is being totally congested by who? Parents taking their kids to school. And I was, we used to have a decent bus transportation system. One day they couldn't afford all of it, so they started charging a fee, and to save money, they spread the stops out, and the parents had to walk farther. It literally destroyed the bus system. People weren't going to pay. If I'm going to get in the car and drive my kid a mile to the bus stop, why don't I drive that extra mile to the school and drop them off, versus when the bus stop was right down the street and you could drop them off. And so I think that was kind of a mistake we made in the past. And I know you can't flip a switch and turn 500 buses on, but it'd be great if you kind of looked at, are there opportunities for that? Because I know sometimes the public transportation isn't exactly full. But when I look at the old school buses in the day I was, we had to squeeze 3 in a seat. So just a comment that I think we're maybe missing the boat. And not picking on you, I'm just bringing things to the group here. Understood. And in your group, thank you. I think it's so important what you're doing. The Ethanak bypass is incredible. You can walk over there, you see Railroad Canyon Freeway. Right out there anytime you want, because we are literally one of the main ways across the area. Years ago, I took an Orange County map and their freeway system, and I overlaid it over Riverside, and I realized we have half the freeways for our population than Orange County, which was a mess in the day. So I can't imagine that things like Ethanak bypass coming over, assisting us with getting our lanes to work better. We appreciate all that. Please keep us in mind. So
yes,
that's my comments. So thank you guys. Thank you for your years of work. So.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Any other comments?
No, I just didn't know horse and buggies allowed 3 to a row.
Let's move on to community reports. So we're going to start with President Bill Van Fleet. There he is, the president of the POA, just so nobody knows who he is, of course. So
I'm here in my civilian attire today. So as a first person, I guess I'd like to say Mayor Welty, Mayor Pro Tem Terry, council members, staff, residents here. So normally I come before you and give you an update on the as a representative of the Property Owners Association and give you an update. Not today. So today I'm here as a grateful resident, and I'd like to recognize, even though we thought it was not going to be all about you, Jeremy, recognize an amazing individual who's served our city with distinction. So I want to express my personal and sincerest thanks to outgoing Mayor Smith. So Jeremy, it's always been clear to me that there are 3 things that you hold holy, right? It's your faith, it's your family, and it's Canyon Lake, your love for this city. And you've demonstrated that all along. In your tenure as mayor, You've taken your role seriously. You did what you believed was right. You've sacrificed a lot in service to this committee. Hard to believe you said it was 2 years. It seems like, I know, 20. And you've protected this city and made it better. It was your leadership and your perseverance that resulted in the successful purchase of the fire station that will ensure crucial life-saving services for our residents both now and into the future. You demonstrated the courage to resist pressure from special interests or to listen to the loudest voice. Right? You've challenged each of us to let Canyon Lake be the city that sets the standard for across the nation for collaboration, for cooperation, for civility, and making good decisions. And by your example, you've shown that Canyon Lake is not like other places, and that 12,000 people can actually get along and can make hard choices and enjoy each other. More than once, you reminded us that we share many and more common values, and we can come together to do common good. We all only get so many heartbeats in life. And the fact that you've given so many of yours in service to this city is remarkable and inspiring. And so I guess I just want to close with 2 words. And they don't begin to express the gratitude that I feel, but I just want to say thank you. And also, I feel a little inadequate. Didn't come forward with a certificate. So from me, here is a certificate.
Now, that's the most fiscal responsible thing I've seen the POA do right there. Right there. Man, if we could do more like that. Thank you so much. Oh, that was awesome. Any questions?
Moving on, Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce update. President John Grande, Citizen of the Month. John Grande?
Wow, it just seems like I keep coming up here today, which is an honor. Mayor Welty, Mayor Pro Tem Terry, council members, city staff, fine citizens and residents, I'm thrilled to be here once again. Some updates about the chamber. On the 6th of this month, we had our monthly business roundtable meeting. Thank you very much, City Manager Nicole Daly, for presenting. We talked about some things that were pretty pertinent to the business community, specifically business permits and things like that. The very next day, we had a ribbon cutting for Fathom Realty. Is April still here? Oh, I guess she's gone. But it was in this room, and an hour later, we had our end-of-year business mixer here in the town center at Pisa. It's a very successful event. Some things we have coming up for this year, we don't have necessarily scheduled yet, but things we're talking about. A monthly Lunch and Learn series held online. Our next Business Roundtable event, actually, Business Roundtable is now being moved to the first Thursday of every month. It has been the first Wednesday. It's going to be the first Thursday, and it's going to be held in the Magnolia Room, which, as most of us know, is downstairs over at the Country Club. And the reason why we changed the date is because that was the date we can get the Magnolia Room. So, pretty simple. And I am also honored to announce our Business of the Month, Frozen in Time. Many of us know Kristen Estelle here in the town center heals many people with cryotherapy. So I think that's everything for today. Any questions? Lovely. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Lake Elsinore Unified School District. Jeanette, you want to come up? This is Jeanette Vanderpool. She's going to tell us about the local school district.
Hi, everybody. Trustee Vanderpool here. Hello, new Mayor Welty, Pro Tem Mark Terry, and then Jeremy. Sorry. Sorry. And council members, thank you for having me here. I look forward to continually represent Lake Elsinore Unified School District monthly, coming here, giving you guys the updates. Tomorrow night is our school board meeting. We always meet on the second Thursday of every month. And so, Jeremy, I'm very sorry that I did not come with a certificate tonight, but I am being fiscally responsible, and I got you this candy cane.
I think the city paid for, so that's even better. Good job. Thank you so much.
But, some of the things that I'm really proud of, and I'm really hoping that by being here tonight, that we all can share with our community members. I mean, I live here in Canyon Lake. I represent all of Area 2. I serve all of the children and the families within Lake Elsinore School District. I personally represent all of the residents of Tuscany Hills, Canyon Hills, and then our amazing city of Canyon Lake. Lake Elsinore, though, serves over 20,000 students. We're 144 square miles, and we serve the cities of Wildomar, Lake Elsinore, Canyon Lake, and South Corona. So I think a lot of times people don't really realize the magnitude of individuals that we impact on a daily basis. Communication is a huge component and factor and mission of mine. As much as we share it and we're out there and I'm speaking to people, there's still a lot of individuals that don't know the services that we have for children, and especially the free ones that we've put into place in the past year. So for instance, we now have Paper, which is 100% free 24/7 tutoring for all children grades 6 through 12 in over 200 different subject matters. So if you're struggling helping your kid in any subject matter really that there is, they can log on and it's free. It's been pushed out on Parent Square. You can call the school, you can call me. It is there for you. We really want to help bring our children's grades up and help them be just the best learners that they possibly can be. We also now have something called Learning Ally, which is a great, it's an online platform for pretty much every book that you can imagine that there is that's been approved by board, of course, and that they are our textbooks as well. So any students who may be behind on their reading can just download the audiobook and have it read out loud to them in a real person's voice. They can also have it highlighted as it goes across, so it will definitely help with reading skills. It reads it, like I said, in a real person's voice so they can hear the inflection of how the tone should be and also help with their reading. I'm also very happy over the hiring of our Director of School Safety. We are one of the very few school districts in the state of California that have one. Really a huge thanks to Captain Rails in the back as well for our Sheriff's Department collaboration in, really hiring the right person for this. And this helps with the communication in times of need and safety between the school district and our Lake Elsinore Sheriff's Department. What we've been able to do to improve the safety of our children is just tremendous. And as the mom of 4 kids in our district, and a lot of us are actually, the cameras that we have everywhere, the safety components in the front offices, I've always said protect our kids like we protect our banks, and that is what Lake Elsinore Unified School District is doing. So we have a lot more to do, a lot of things coming up, and thank you for your time. I'll be back next month.
All right, let's move on to public safety updates. Canyon Lake Code Enforcement, Ruby?
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and staff. I will be covering my activity report for the month of November. We had 1 violation for unpermitted construction, 3 MPDS violations, 5 administrative nuisances. Down to BLM, we had 11 prohibited vehicles, 2 fresh bonfires that were cleaned up and cleared of debris, 10 verbal warnings were given, 1 citation was issued, 5 abandoned or inoperable vehicles were found. Notice of violations were issued for all 5. 2 new short-term rentals, notices of violations were issued for those. Down to residential rental registrations, we found 8 unregistered properties. So notices were issued. Out of the 8, 7 have complied, and we still have 1 that we can't get to comply at this time. So a citation was issued to that one. 338 rental registrations currently. 314 are active and current. 24 are still pending renewal, and 13 inspections were conducted for the month of November. Down to our business license, we have a total of 1,179 current, 2 new commercial business registrations, 3 new home occupations, 5 out of city, and the first week of November, we mailed out our renewals, and so far we've had 367 return and current, so that's actually really good. And that is all I have.
Mr. Mayor, if I may? Just, Ruby, thank you for the report. Appreciate the update. In regards to, it was 8 homes that you found in regards to property rentals, right? Dealing with
Correct.
landlords. So out of the 7 that did respond, how was the correspondence How is the timeline in regards to getting the property good to go to our standards? How's that been?
It's actually been pretty good. So we give them 7 days to come in and comply. They're usually here within the next day, 3 days at the most. We just have that one that was issued a citation for not complying within the 7 days, and the second citation will follow.
Okay. With those landlords coming forward, are they having issues getting their property signed off in regards to the inspections that are required? Has that been a problem? Smoke detectors, COT detectors, that kind of stuff in regards to any issues?
No, we have not had any issues with that.
Perfect. I want to encourage those landlords out there that are listening. It's pretty incredible the amount of work that our code enforcement's doing to create a safe environment for our tenants here in Canyon Lake. Almost as though it's an endorsement, because I know that landlords can say that we are certified, we have a business license with the city, code enforcement's been to the property, they've seen the property, they signed off on the property, it's a safe place, to live, and that's something that I think we really need to push out to our future tenants and current tenants. So I just want to applaud you and your team on the hard work that you're doing educating our landlords, because the stories that I used to hear of tenants and the scariness and the situations that they were living in, I'm very thankful for this program and that you guys continue to push hard. So appreciate that.
And we are getting a lot of them. Last month we had 7. This
Yeah.
month we've had 8. So we're finding them.
And I think it reinsures our question or our thought from the very beginning that we have a lot more out
Yeah.
there than we currently have on file.
Correct.
At least per the absentee homeowner list that we're able to pull through the county. So thank you. That's all I have.
I would just like to briefly say thank you for attending the business roundtable last week, correct? Both you and Nicole, thank you for representing the city. I think the information that you provided the business community was tremendous, and it really does show the efforts that collectively we're making as a city to be business friendly to our local businesses. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Good. Thank you.
All right, Chief Samuels, you're next. This is, oh,
Perfect, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Chief Lieutenant couldn't be here today. He's at a conference, so you guys have second string tonight. That's me. But I did dress up. I put on my long sleeves for you guys, so feeling fancy. I'm going to go over the monthly report for you guys for the month of November. In the month of November, we responded to 88 incidents. You can see that pretty much lines up with our average. We typically run between 80 and 90 runs per month. So this gives you a total number by month for the course of the year. This slide right here represents our calls by incident type. When we respond to an incident, it gets coded by an incident code, and so we categorize our calls by code, and these are national codes. The EMS incidents, they continue to dominate our calls, as you can see. 62 of them in November, over 700 medical aids for the year. We did have a busy fire month. If you notice, in the fire category, we had 7 fires in the month of November, so keeping us busy. This slide here kind of outlines the fires that we have responded to. We did respond to a structured fire on Strawberry Lane, outside fire on the BLM land, which is just behind Longhorn in Area 3, vegetation fire out in the Good Hope area, an illegal bonfire on Giant Fir. We had a dumpster fire at Happy Camp. That picture you see there was from a lightning strike we had at the top of Black Horse, which caused quite a commotion. So we had that storm that blew through. We had a lightning strike at the top of Black Horse. Actually got called in from Elsinore. So CAL FIRE had a response come in, and we were pretty delayed, but once we figured out where it was, we got dispatched up there. So myself, the fire chief, our patrol, and the engine were up there fighting that fire. And then at the end of the month, we had an attic fire, structure fire on Cruise Circle. So it was a busy fire month for us. The next slide is our call volume by hour. So we look at our demand by hour. You can see in our community, right around 8 in the morning when people are waking up, our calls increase significantly. They pretty much increase for the course of the day. Right around 8 o'clock at night, it starts to go back down by volume and pretty much levels out. The next slide here is representative of calls by the property type. We continue to dominate for 1 and 2 family residences. That is the number one incident or call type property type that we respond to, so over 700. Interesting, we still continue to get calls at the fire station. We had 4 last month. Again, just trying to reinforce to the residents. They got to call 911 because typically the guys are out training. Today, our Engine 1 responded to a call at Station 94 for a chest pain, and the patients had actually driven from Quail Valley, so they drove to Station 5, knocked on the door, nobody was there, so they drove to Station 94, nobody was there either. And then they decided to call 911, and CAL FIRE was committed, so we ended up taking the call. So I try to encourage people, call 911. So we are unique in that we get a lot of incidents at the fire station. This is our response times displayed as an average for EMS. We had excellent turnout time this month, which is from the time of the alarm to the time of when the guys get on the fire engine and begin to roll out of the station. We averaged just at 40 seconds, which is outstanding. Our guys are all over it, and they do a great job. Travel time is the next one you see there. We average 5 minutes and 24 seconds of travel time. And the last one there is total response time, which combines the two. And we average at 5 minutes and 51 seconds for medical aid response. The next slide is where we take our incidents, and by time we break it into a fractile, which is more representative of a measure that we use industry-wide. At the 90th fractile, our goal is to be, our turnout time is 1:45, 90% of the time, and at 90% we were at 1:07, which was our best month so far. And I run reports every week, so what I do is I go through the calls every week, I send them to the fire chief and the captains, so they constantly are aware of where they're at, and it's been working really well. Our travel time is something we can't control. We don't control where the calls are. We're at 90%, we're at 7:41. And our total response time at the 90th percentile is 8 minutes and 8 seconds. The next slide is the number of incidents that, by representation on the map, that we had in the city for the month of November. Here we just have some auto and mutual aid given. It's actually a little bit of a typo here. We actually had 11 incidents outside of the city for the month of November. We had 8 in Lake Elsinore, which is the zip codes, doesn't necessarily represent the city limits. We actually had 2 in the Good Hope area, and we actually had 1 in Menifee, so a total of 11. This year, we've responded out of the city 160 times to our cooperator outside, primarily in the Elsinore zip codes, Menifee, and Good Hope. We do have some other incidents that we responded to this year further out. This represents auto and mutual aid given by map. The green circles are clusters of incidents. We respond to a lot of incidents out in the Meadowbrook and Good Hope area. That's where a lot of our call volume is. The single red dots represent pens. Those are single calls at one location. This is auto and mutual aid given for the year. And you can see the yellow clusters out in the Good Hope and Meadowbrook area, and also in the Canyon Hills area, down by the Stater Brothers area. We respond a lot into that area as well. As far as auto and mutual aid received, we received aid from the county 9 times this month. That should say for November. And so far this year, the county has responded into our city 89 times. And that picture there is from our structure fire the other night, November 25th. So we had the county come in and help us out. This is a heat map which shows you the highlighted areas inside the city where our partners come in and help us out. Clearly at the town center, There's a high volume there because the Railroad Canyon rolls through there, and a lot of foot traffic and auto traffic through that area, and then other clusters of areas where we have a lot of calls in the city. Our training this month, we had A shift had a total of 28 hours of training, B shift had 31 hours, and our C shift had 33 hours. You can see the focus of our training for this month. One thing we're pretty proud of is that we have credentialed our entire department in rope rescue. So our entire department is certified in low-angle rescue, so we can do over-the-side rescues now. So we're able to lower by rope our rescuers over the side, create a system, and haul them back up. So pretty happy about that, pretty excited. Here are the events that we participated in. The city's Veterans Day event, the POA tree lighting ceremony, the Senior Center Boutique, the pickleball ribbon cutting, and the city turkey drive. And here are the significant event. Was a structure fire that we responded to on Cruise Circle at 9:18 p.m. It was actually an attic fire, and we received mutual aid from the city of Murrieta and the city of Corona. So we get one engine on our auto aid. CAL FIRE sent 2 additional engines, a truck company from Murrieta, and again, we got an engine company from the city of Corona. The guys, and they did an excellent job. They stopped the fire real quick, got in there. I was really proud of them. They did a really good job, and actually saved a lot of property that night. Last thing is, the chief wanted to remind everybody that we are doing Donuts with Santa this Saturday at the fire station from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. So inviting everybody to come out. And that is it. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Mayor, if I may. I got a call today from, a lot of us know Tom Nathan. He's a former director for the POA. And I might screw this up, but he was asking me if we have, I believe it's called the Lucas chest compressor system. It's an electric CPR machine. Do we have that? Is that something that we looked at? I know it's extremely pricey. And what do you think about that?
Well, they're effective in the right scenario. They are really good at maintaining CPR compressions in depth.
Right.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
The bands are expensive because each time you use it, you have to get rid of the band. They run anywhere from $150 to $200 a piece.
Wow.
The problem is, in our world, if you're in a hospital setting and you're sitting in a bed, it's great. When you have a patient on the 2nd floor or 3rd floor and you're going down a spiral staircase or you're right in the back of an ambulance and they're bumping around, they tend to slide. They lose their efficacy in our world.
Okay.
But we have really highly trained firefighters that are really good at CPR, and so I'd match up our guys against the machine any day.
Love it. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. That's all I had.
Anybody else?
Check this out. Councilmember Smith and I did a public service announcement video with Chief, encouraging those not to go to the firehouse. I'm hoping that Donna Ritchie, who is here with us tonight, would, once that becomes available to us, that we can get that information out to the community and really cut down on the number of people that are going to the firehouse. 4 is probably a larger number than you expected this month, but hopefully through the video and some community interaction, we can really re-educate them in the importance of calling 911.
I appreciate that. It's, like I said, the guys, they're out training all day, they're running calls, they're not in the stations a lot. And I hate to have somebody show up and we're not there, and that just is gonna delay their treatment. And then, it's phone calls and we're calling dispatch, and if they're on 911, the call gets handled, they're getting pre-arrival instructions, all that information goes to the address. And if our guys are busy, the closest next unit will get there. And it gets the AMR rolling, it just gets the whole ball rolling a lot quicker. So I appreciate that. Anybody else? No? Before I leave, if I could, I don't have anything to give you, sorry. So I'm super fiscally responsible because you don't get anything. I do want to say that I do appreciate your candor. I appreciate the care you show to the city staff, to the fire department especially. I know you are a big fan and supporter, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And I just wanted to personally thank you for your time as mayor and everything you've done. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're moving on to Lieutenant Edwards.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, City staff. So I had to compete with fire. So now I have a PowerPoint for you guys. So are you ready for death by PowerPoint? Mine is only 30 minutes.
Okay.
So bear with me. 30 minutes. It's just 30 minutes.
Just kidding.
29.
Okay.
All right, so we had our OTS grant. We've talked about this before. So we'll go over the stats. So we had 33 traffic stops, 10 were golf carts, 33 field sobriety tests, 4 drivers arrested for driving under the influence, 23 citations, and 4 vehicles impounded. None of those were golf carts. So lots of questions. What is OTS? Right, we talked about this before. So what's the purpose of OTS grant, right? So effectively administer traffic safety grants to deliver innovative programs and eliminate traffic fatalities and injuries on California roadways. So part of the programs are alcohol impaired driving, distracted driving, drug impaired driving, motorcycle safety, occupant protection, basically traffic safety, right? It encompasses it all. So why did we need a grant? Right? Free money. So traffic-related concerns from council and from the community, increase overall community safety through enforcement, and the key is education, right? So the city of Canyon Lake pays for 24 hours per day of police services. We all know this. That is 1 deputy on at a time. There is no full-time traffic team out here, right? So with the grant, we're able to increase high visibility enforcement to reduce vehicle accidents and reduce impaired and distracted driving. So some of our year-to-date stats. Okay, why did we need this grant? Why did we apply for this grant? This is why. So DUIs, we've had 12 in the city of Canyon Lake, 6 on Railroad Canyon alone year-to-date. 58 calls reporting possible DUI drivers driving on Railroad Canyon. It's a lot. Traffic collisions, we've had 12 on Railroad Canyon. 1 was a fatal. We had 3 injuries and 2 were related to DUIs. 25 collisions outside of Railroad Canyon, 1 being a fatal. 17 injury, 5 misdemeanor DUI, 1 felony DUI. And out of that, there were 6 golf cart collisions, 5 of which are DUI, right? So the grant info, this is the questions we've been asked, right? So how long is the grant good for? It's a year, right? So our grant right now expires on 9/30/24. So far, we have 3 saturation patrols left and 1 DUI checkpoint. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't add to this or request more. So the possibility is we could do more, depending on how effective they are. With this last one we had, it was pretty effective, right? Word got out really quick, pretty quick. So with that, we'll do the DUI checkpoint. That one is going to be posted, 7-day notice. Saturations do not require notice. And again, so it's a yearly program, so we apply yearly. So if this continues and it's effective, we'll apply yearly and continue this program. So what is driving under the influence? So now I'm going to play professor, okay? So driving under the influence. So if you have a beer and you're drinking, could you be under the influence? Yes. So 23-152A is any person under the influence of alcohol. Doesn't matter, you're driving, you could be cited for that. The B section is if it's 0.08 or more BAC, blood level, okay? It's also, can't use drugs, can't use prescription drugs that cause drowsiness or anything else. Marijuana, you cannot drive under the influence of marijuana. So it's unlawful for any of that. The last question we get asked is, can you get a DUI while operating a golf cart or an e-bike? Yes, you can. What is a golf cart? That's a question we get a lot, right? So here's what a golf cart looks like. So a golf cart is a motor vehicle having not less than 3 wheels in contact with the ground, weighing less than 1,300 pounds, and it is designed to carry golf equipment and not more than 2 persons, including the driver. 4-seaters, 6-seaters, those aren't golf carts. So next, we talk about low-speed vehicles or neighborhood electric vehicles. So that's the next question. What are those? We're going to read all this stuff. So it's a slow-speed vehicle, but basically what it is it's a vehicle. It's registered with the DMV, it's got license plates, it's operated by a licensed driver. That's what a neighborhood electric vehicle is. That's what a slow-speed vehicle is. And again, some of the equipment, right, so you can distinguish between the two, is that a neighborhood electric vehicle or a low-speed vehicle, headlamps, turn signals, horns, everything functions, license plates. And it is a common question, so the DMV actually addressed this, and so I put this little video in here and help educate us all.
Are you thinking about buying a neighborhood electric vehicle or a golf cart? Consider this. Do you want to complete errands around town, or do you want to drive in a golf cart community? You've seen golf carts and neighborhood electric vehicles, but what makes them different from each other? They look the same. Let's take a closer look. Golf carts are defined as motor vehicles that are designed to carry golf equipment and no more than 2 people, including the driver. They cannot weigh more than 1,300 pounds, and they cannot operate at speeds above 15 miles per hour. Golf carts are also restricted to driving on roads with speed limits of 25 miles per hour or less, so you may find using them for errands difficult. Neighborhood electric vehicles, or NEVs, are also known as low-speed vehicles and are a great alternative to get around in particular areas. NEVs must meet the following requirements. They must have 4 wheels. They must not exceed a speed limit of 25 miles per hour on a paved level surface, and they must weigh less than 3,000 pounds. Even though NEVs look like golf carts to the casual observer, they are actually a motor vehicle that requires a valid California driver license, registration, and insurance. NEVs must have a 17-digit conforming vehicle identification number to comply with the Code of Federal Regulations. A Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard label must be affixed to the vehicle, confirming that the NEV is equipped with standard safety features such as headlights, brake lights, turn signals, seat belts, a horn, and a rearview mirror. They must have a safety glazed windshield and windshield wipers. NEVs may not be operated on any roadway with a speed limit posted above 35 miles per hour. Hopefully, this information can assist your decision to purchase the best vehicle to suit your driving needs. Once you understand the differences in the vehicles, the next step is to play it safe and to understand what your local jurisdiction allows. For further information regarding your NEV or golf cart, see publication Fast Facts 37, available at the DMV website, www.dmv.ca.gov.
Pretty important, pretty clear, right? So why did I bring that up? To address the Canyon Lake City Ordinance. So the Canyon Lake City Ordinance is pretty clear that it is for golf cart traffic to cross Railroad Canyon using the pedestrian lanes. That's it. Is that the golf carts can't cross Railroad Canyon in the traffic lanes, period. These are the sections. The city attorney sure is well aware of them as well. Signs and markers, everything that the city is required to do for that crossing. Now, this was enacted in '95, so I don't know if that predates the tunnels, if anybody knows. Tunnels were first, I believe. Were they? Okay. Any questions regarding golf carts?
Oh, yeah.
Bring it.
Let's finish, and then we'll get into it, unless this is the time where you're done.
Well, I have one more video, but if you want to do questions on the golf cart stuff, we can do that now.
Yeah, I think that, we might have a different way of interpreting the ordinance in that regards. Mr. City Attorney, if you don't mind kind of elaborating a little bit.
Yeah, so I think generally speaking, golf carts are defined under the vehicle code, as are low-speed vehicles. Low-speed vehicles are also commonly referred to as neighborhood electric vehicles, although they don't have to be electrical. And most of the time, they are different things. And I believe under the vehicle code, low-speed vehicles are generally subject to the provisions of other motor vehicles. So you're talking licensing, registration, things like that. But there is an important exception, and that's under vehicle code 21-115, which is the authority under which the city adopted this ordinance. And it specifically holds under that section that for the purposes of that section, which allows crossings of streets and highways where the speed is greater than 35, it refers to golf carts in that section. Later in the section, though, it says for the purposes of this section, a golf cart includes a low-speed vehicle. Additionally, under Vehicle Code 21-250, that is the general section where it says low-speed vehicles are required to be registered, you're required to have a license to operate, things like that. It says except as provided under these various sections, and one of those sections is 21-115, which I just talked about. And so I think we may have, just in city attorney's interpretation of our ordinance, if it's the sheriff's department's view that a low-speed vehicle, for the purposes of that crossing, is not considered a golf cart under the city's ordinance, and is required to be registered and have a licensed driver, I think we may be in disagreement. And I can send those code sections over to the sheriff's department. I was told to have these ordinances ready to talk about because it might come up tonight.
Yeah.
Probably would have preferred to have a more discussion about it.
Which part are we disputing on the crossing, though? So the crossing is clear in the ordinance that it's with pedestrian traffic. You hit the button and you cross with the pedestrian traffic, that you're not in a vehicle lane, right?
That I'm not so sure about. I see what you're saying when you're looking at the ordinance. The confusion that I was informed was that there was some confusion about, I would call them modified golf carts, which are, they look like a golf cart, but they don't meet the legal definition under the vehicle code. So they have like 4 seats, for example. They would likely meet the definition of a low-speed vehicle, be required to be registered, have a licensed driver, things like that.
License plate, VIN number.
Right.
Correct.
I think that if such a vehicle were crossing the street in compliance with the ordinance,
With pedestrian traffic.
in compliance with the ordinance, I think they would be, for those purposes, at that point in time, considered a golf cart. So I think it may be a good idea to have the sheriff's department talk with the city manager's office and the city engineer to see if there's a way that we can delineate that portion of the intersection to make it safe, and to have that consultation with our law enforcement agency about the proper way for people to engage in that behavior crossing Railroad Canyon.
So the vehicle code identifies what a golf cart is, right? So that was the important part of bringing that definition. So the definition of a golf cart is a 2-seater with golf equipment, right? And so that's
Right.
what you adopted in the ordinance, is it's for a golf cart.
Except for, again, the state law, the vehicle code section that authorizes the city to do this,
Right.
explicitly says that for the purposes of that section, and that section only,
Yep.
only that section, a golf cart includes a low-speed vehicle. And the definition of a low-speed vehicle is simply that you have 4 wheels, you don't go faster than 25 miles an hour.
Well, the low-speed
And that you have to be
vehicle
under
and the
3,000.
neighborhood electric vehicle are the same, so they're interchangeable in the vehicle code.
Right.
Right, so you're talking VIN number, license plate, registration. So for all intents and purposes, those are vehicles. So those ones, it's not really a dispute on a fully functioning headlights, taillights, turn signals,
It is.
vehicle crossing.
I think it is in dispute. Because I think that if that low-speed vehicle is operating on a public street, then I agree 100%. It needs to have all those things. I think if that vehicle is operating in compliance with this ordinance, it's a golf cart. I know it seems weird. Happy to send over the sections.
No, I've read 21-115-5, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it does have a provision for the neighborhood electric vehicles, low-speed vehicles. That's why we addressed that in the PowerPoint, to differentiate between the two, right? So your 4-seat, 6-seat golf carts, they're kind of that little wobbler between a golf cart and a neighborhood electric vehicle. They're not either one, so they shouldn't be crossing at all.
Okay, I think that we probably disagree on that.
Okay.
And so, and obviously, like, the city adopted this ordinance. And so I think that maybe we should talk about what the ordinance is adopted and what our interpretation of the vehicle code is, just to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So I think that probably can enhance safety there as well while we're looking at it.
Okay, so let's make sure that we're on the same page then. So for this and for what we've been discussing, these vehicles do not cross in traffic lanes, right? They're not sitting at the light waiting for a green light. They are waiting with pedestrian traffic, waiting for the walk, don't walk. That is the differentiation between the two.
So all I would say is, on the ordinance, they have to comply with the terms of the ordinance. I don't disagree. The issue that I researched, like immediately before this, again, and that appears to be somewhat unclear to a lot of people, is that for all intents and purposes, 99% of the time, under Vehicle Code 21251, a low-speed vehicle is subject to the same requirements as other motor vehicles. And that's VIN, registration.
Correct.
Right? All those things.
Yep.
But it has a specific exception when crossing a street designated for golf carts. And that section, 21115, says for the purposes of this section, a low-speed vehicle is a golf cart. And so they're not the same thing 99% of the time. When you're crossing that street in compliance with this ordinance,
Yeah.
it should be treated the same as a golf cart, which means it's not required to have all those things. And if you're going from one place where you're not required, you're on private property, you're going to private property.
Right, within the gates,
and
you're
and you're
carte
exempt
blanche.
in the cross, it would seem to me that people were likely in compliance with the ordinance. Now, if they are not crossing as the pedestrian is required to, which the ordinance says, I think that's a different discussion. I've seen some communities deal with this by putting a golf cart / NEV lane next to the crosswalk, because I actually think it'd probably be unsafe to drive your golf cart in the crosswalk
Right.
with pedestrians.
Right.
Like, that's probably more of a safety hazard than staying to the right, and that's probably the last thing we want. But I do think that we probably need to get on the same page with, especially the city engineer side, who designs the roads, designs this infrastructure, and our law enforcement agency that's out there enforcing it, because it does seem that we're not at this point.
Yeah, I think what's clear for us is that we don't want them crossing with vehicular traffic, right? And so as long as they're in compliance with this, and they're using the actual, pedestrian, they're going when pedestrians would go, not necessarily in the crosswalk, that's when they would cross.
And I actually think that the following code section in the vehicle code requires that if we do an upgrade or change that intersection, that we involve the sheriff's
Law
department
enforcement,
with that review process.
Yep.
And so I think that's probably a good idea. It sounds like this was all done in the 90s.
95.
And there was an understanding among the people who were involved then, but, we're coming up on 30 years later. So I think
Lieutenant
probably a
Edwards,
good time to get on
question
the
for
same
you,
page.
if you don't mind, Mr. City Attorney.
Yeah.
A resident's in a golf cart, and he or she decides to go at the time at which a pedestrian would go, the little body that flashes.
Right.
They're in compliance.
Correct.
They're good to go.
Yep.
No issue. Now, if they're there and the light's yellow and clearly the hand is stop, then they're in compliance of crossing, and you're, at least in what you bring forward, that would be considered a citable offense.
Not necessarily, right? So even slow pedestrians that go through the crosswalk, you never have enough time, but
Yeah.
case by case.
Case by case.
Yeah.
I think that's good. That's all I have. You don't have
And
any?
again, this is all just for community
Of
safety,
course,
right? So
of
we're
course.
addressing some of the concerns the community has with golf carts crossing. And here's my scenario, and I've discussed this with many people, is a golf cart at the intersection of Railroad Canyon, right? You've all been at a traffic light. You're first in line, your light turns green, you get ready to go, and there goes that car that blows the light. What's going to happen when that person is in a golf cart?
Right.
It's going to, it'll be excruciating for them.
I want to say, Captain Rails, I know you're back there. I don't know the deputy that's sitting next to you, but
That's my sergeant, so he's the traffic sergeant, and he
was the
writes
one-
the OTS grants, he's the one that does the enforcements, and so he is my residential expert on this. So if you have further questions, I'm sure you could debate the city attorney and.
I do, and that's what's fun. That's what's fun.
I
No,
prefer
it's
to
all
be on the
fun.
same
That's why
same
they put
team
me
as the
next.
sheriff,
Yeah,
but-
that's why they put me next to him so we can debate and argue. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for the work that was done last Friday. I fully endorse 110% of the activities that you did. I appreciate you. I honestly do. I got way too many calls that night. I got way too many calls the next day on Saturday. But I just want to say thank you. When you look at the stats and you see that there was 23 citations and 4 of them were DUIs, we have a serious problem here in Canyon Lake, and this type of representation is without a doubt needed. I did a video today identifying these stats, and if we remember right, Captain Rails, Councilwoman Casey Castillo, and myself came to you begging for a call in action on this program. So I just want you to know, at least for myself, I'm one of 5 up here, I want to say seriously, thank you so much for that hard work. We have to deal with the PR nightmare of some of these things. More so, we're trying to educate our community on what this golf cart means and how we're trying to handle in it. So for us, if I have any disappointment, it just caught off guard because I need to do more work too. But I simply want to say thank you. Seriously, this is really needed.
And so just quickly on that, because we were discussing that as well. So what's more of effective campaign, right? Is I could post a flyer on Facebook or something outlining the laws of golf carts, or we could actually do this operation and educate everybody in person, and it paid off in dividends, right? I mean,
And you guys, absolutely professional. We, Council, Mayor Pro Tem, Mark Terry and myself had calls from people who were pulled over, and you guys were so flippin' professional and courtesy to this. And it's caught off guard
That's his
because
team right there.
because our Canyon Lakers, this was a complete shock, right? They've never been pulled over in a golf cart in Canyon Lake, right? So, I mean, we're dealing with, don't tread on me, I'm going to, where's my Trump flag, all this good stuff, right? So that's what we've been dealing with, but we need to make sure that we're ahead of it, which is why we're asking these questions and doing what we can. I know your guys' intent is not to pull over golf carts. I get that, right? And I know that you're not going to be citing, you're going to be impounding, and that's probably because they're under the influence of operating that golf cart. At least that's how I perceive the situation. But I want to say thank you again, because that stat at 18%, and Captain Rails, you and I have talked about this, when you guys do DUI checkpoints in other jurisdictions, and you talk to anywhere between 800 to 1,000 people, and you get 4 or 5 of them, it's a big win. You got it with 23 stops here in Canyon Lake. So anyways, I'm done. Thank you.
I have some comments. One, a law that's ordinance 30 years old, it's not the same Canyon Lake, clearly not the same Canyon Lake. And with the e-bikes, it's clearly not the same California. We have e-bikes, we have communities that are golf cart driven. We're told by the SCAG organization that we need to be a 15-minute city and that we need to endorse these electric vehicles. So this world is rapidly changing, and the idea that ordinances and laws fall out of date but aren't corrected till 10 years later is, hate to say it, is kind of the norm. And I would think I worked for the government. We had one agency, on Fridays you actually had to, drink water, and the other agency said you could never drink water on Friday. I mean, that's just the nature of our beast. Yeah. So we appreciate it. Hopefully we can work through this. And I don't think it's just our issue, because I see your pictures. You got the golf cart town. And
it's everywhere. And a lot of this is driven by state law. It's not necessarily ordinance. It's just the ordinance that's authorized them to cross railroad for golf purposes, right? But
we may be 30 years old, but maybe the state law is 5 years old, right? I mean, out of date. So maybe everything needs to be looked at. So it's something you have to look at it practically, and I know there's a law. Practically, we have really had no one killed crossing the street in a golf cart, but we've had a series of injuries and deaths from alcohol. I mean, we've seen the stats. They're just mind-blowing. How can we have 33 people pulled over and 4 were under the influence? Unbelievable. And I think here we can say the problem isn't the golf carts. We can't, let's not get lost.
But again, we're going over all of traffic safety. So part of the OTS grant is all of traffic safety. So when I send my traffic team out here, I'm like, enforce traffic safety, whatever that might be, cell phones, impaired drivers, whatever it is, they're going to enforce it all.
But I'm not picking on, what I'm saying to the community is, the community, don't get lost about having to get an informational flyer and that kind of throwing your day into a little spin, or the fact that the city and the sheriff, maybe the state and the community need to work together and come up with a better answer. That's normal government, for God's sakes. Everything is like shifting.
Well, hopefully they know that we have their best interests at heart.
Yeah,
right? We want their safety in their golf carts while they're traveling, and not expose them to something that could be detrimental or something for their family, right? I mean, that's
So I could never say not, the safety work you do is way too important not to move ahead. And if the inconvenience to the committee is a piece of paper and information, that's a small price to pay to get a safe community. The other side is, obviously, this has risen out of community norms, and at that point, we have to all look at how we can work together, because it needs to be communicated better. I think in a perfect world, we'd be able to change some rules so it's all better for everybody. But in no way I don't want your sheriffs to go out and say, oh, we have to be careful about this safety thing. No, you need to go out and help. The state's spending this money, you're spending your time, make us a safe place.
Right.
And as far as the informational stuff, appreciate you didn't give tickets. So just because we have a problem that represents this % of what you did.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn away from the big solutions you did, which is this big.
Right.
And also during this operation, none of the DUI arrests were living in Canyon Lake. They were all coming through Railroad Canyon in Canyon Lake. And my concern is the family on the golf cart crossing, not them, it's the concern of the DUI driver that's gonna hit them. And then liability on the city, liability on us for not doing our job. That's where this all came out of.
Good. And one last comment, I want the community to be very clear in the understanding of this, because this is a real simple thing I'm going to say. You guys don't pull over people speeding in Canyon Lake, with the exception of people that are reckless in their driving. Is that true?
Inside the gate.
Inside the gates. You don't pull over people for speeding unless their speeding is inherently reckless. If it's reckless, you will pull them over.
Inside the gates, correct.
So everybody needs to know that you can be pulled over in Canyon Lake. And if you're driving recklessly, you will be pulled over, I think likely cited. And that same thing applies with DUIs. If you're driving in Canyon Lake and the officer appears to see what he feels as a person under the influence, you can be pulled over.
Yes.
And you likely will be pulled over, and you will get a DUI if you are in the influence.
Correct.
So I just want the community to be clear, this isn't a free zone for driving under the influence.
No, within the gates, it's not a free zone to drink and drive.
Absolutely.
It's not.
Okay, any other questions?
I just have a comment. Go ahead. Thank you, because we appreciate the focus on safety. I would like to hopefully explore further, though, and find a way, Canyon Lake, we do love I'm going to call it a golf cart, even though it's not.
Got to use the proper terms. Yeah.
And our vehicle that looks like a golf cart but isn't. But I would like to come up with solutions to make it where we can continue to drive it across the street. And I think, and I appreciate the concern about people going through Railroad Canyon, and I don't know anybody that doesn't stop for a few seconds, whether I'm in a car or a golf cart going across the street.
It's a good practice.
Because of
Correct.
people driving. So that's something I think that not everybody, a lot of people do just normally because of
Or
how
should
fast people are going, especially in that intersection. But I'm hoping that we can continue to come up with some solutions that work for everybody.
I would agree. Thank you very much for the effort. I know that going all the way back to, 4th of July, the residents of Canyon Lake have requested this action. And it was eye-opening. Lots of conversation going on Saturday, but at the end of the day, it was in the best interest of public safety, and we really do appreciate your efforts. I will say, I do know someone who was pulled over in a slow-moving, fast-moving, smaller four-wheel vehicle.
Under 1,300 pounds?
Yeah, perhaps.
Okay.
Perhaps. And they were actually given a sobriety test. The one comment they made was how courteous you were. I'm sure they may not have felt that way had things gone the other way, but I think your professionalism was evident, and we do appreciate the effort. Thank you very much.
I have one more question. Sorry, that just made me think of something else. When anybody that was everybody that was pulled over given a sobriety test, or just if there was a question? or a suspicion?
So everyone we do pull over, and regardless of where you see us anywhere, it's always you're always checking people's sobriety. People drive under the influence of drugs, alcohol, prescription medication, a gamut of different items cause people to drive impaired. So everyone that we stop, we're checking impairment. And they're not going to run through the full FSTs, but if we suspect any kind of further impairment, we'll go ahead and have them run through the gamut of the standardized field sobriety tests. But if it's someone we talk to and we can immediately tell they're not under the influence, we're not going to continue going on down the road of field sobriety tests. There's no reason to. But everyone we talk to, no matter where we're at, is going to be, you're checking sobriety and impairment on every driver you contact.
So that clears up the 33 out of 33.
For sure, yes, yes. And I
So
was there for the
I was
field
starting to
sobriety
think,
test on
guys.
the individual driving the golf cart, and we watched them drive across Railroad Canyon, and when we contact them, we smell alcohol, then of course we're going to go a little bit further with that. So.
No other questions? I'll move on. Like I said, 30 minutes. What am I at? Am I at 35? Is it? You thought I was kidding. Okay, part 2. All right, public service announcements. Another video for you.
Terry, I'm here with Mayor Jeremy Smith and Deputy Costin of the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, and we want to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday season. We wanted to take a moment to share some important safety tips for our community. Deputy Costin, could you tell our community a little bit about the crimes of opportunity that occur during the holiday season?
Each year, during the holidays, we see a spike in minor crimes and drunk driving, most of which could have been prevented. During the holidays, the Lake Elsinore Sheriff Station would like to remind the community of the following. Do not drink and drive or be under the influence of any substance and drive. Avoid putting yourself or others at risk by having a designated driver or choosing an alternate mode of transportation like Uber or Lyft. Be sure to lock up your valuables. Holidays are a popular time for minor thefts. Do not leave gifts or other valuables in your car. Theft is a crime of opportunity, and you never want to give someone the chance to easily steal something meaningful from you. Be kind to others. Please be kind and respectful to others around this time of the year. Avoid conflict and altercations to prevent any unnecessary concerns this holiday season. Lastly, please never hesitate to report a concern. Your team at the Lake Elsinore Sheriff Station is here to serve you. If you see any sort of criminal activity, there are several options to report. Residents have several options such as calling 911 for an immediate safety issue such as violent crime like a robbery in progress or drunk driving. Call the non-emergency line for less serious concerns that do not require an immediate response. Or you can file a report online for minor public safety concerns that may not require a response to your home. Overall, we are here for you, believe in service above self, and are grateful to have your support this holiday season.
By following the tips Deputy Costin shared with us, we can help prevent crime in and around our city. While these days we may be more inclined to post our concerns on social media, it is essential that you also report those concerns to the Lake Elsinore Sheriff's Station directly. You can also refer to our website at canyonlakeca.gov for more information.
Public safety is the City of Canyon Lake's #1 priority and responsibility. Theft will not be tolerated here in Canyon Lake. It is important that we particularly look after our retail destinations, such as our small businesses, to ensure that we're doing all we can to make it safe. This holiday season, you can support our local businesses by not just purchasing things here locally and shopping locally, but also being their eyes and ears and looking after each other during this holiday season. Stay safe, Canyon Lake. Together, by looking after one another, we can make sure Canyon Lake is the safest city in California.
There you have it, Canyon Lakers. As you see, there are many ways to be proactive in keeping our community safe, not only during the holidays, but at any time of the year. Thank you, Deputy Costin, for joining us here today, for sharing your advice, and thank you for your service to our community. Our team has made sure all this information is available on our website, including how and what you should report to our partners at the Canyon Lake Property Owners Association. Together, we are committed to ensuring the overall safety of our entire community. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about how to stay safe this holiday season. And once again, we wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and God bless.
So I thought that came out pretty good, so I just wanted to give you a little preview. Mike does have the video, so you guys can post it wherever you want. But that's it. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a safe New Year. If you need anything, let me know. You have my contact information. And
Just want to say, as Mayor Pro Tem Terry indicated, the best part of that video was the golf carts in the background. But in all honesty, Lieutenant Edwards, thank you. Seriously, thank you. Out of all the slideshows that we watched tonight, you have the coolest background, without a doubt.
Sure.
But I really do appreciate the hard work that you guys are doing for us, and thank you for that operation on Friday. It really did create a lot of, in my mind, people questioning the way that they're doing things because the stats were just so staggering. So I appreciate you guys.
you're welcome. Good. All right. Thank you.
Okay. That was interesting. Thank you for your time. Moving on to public microphone. In training. Moving on to public comments. City Clerk, do we have any comment cards?
Mayor, we have one speaker tonight. We have Donna Ritchie.
Oh. Not a regular at the public comment, but okay.
So I just want to take a minute as Councilmember Smith's term as mayor comes to an end. I just wanted to extend my gratitude to him for his outstanding leadership this year. His unwavering availability has proven instrumental, ensuring prompt communication and the timely dissemination of crucial information to the community. He's always made himself available when I needed him, always answering my calls unless he was in a meeting. Although I've never called at 1 o'clock in the morning, I just want to go on the record. But I have called at times, whether you were eating dinner, you were with your family. It was not during business hours, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate your leadership, your transparency, and your availability, as these qualities have been invaluable throughout the year. Thank you to all, and Dale, congratulations. I've known you for a long time, and I'm happy you're in this position. I'm sure you'll do a great job.
Thank you.
One more speaker. We have Najwa.
I have to say something. I really have to say something. You know my background. I worked for at least 12 mayors. What you don't know is my uncle raised me, and he was the mayor of our city in Lebanon. At this time in Lebanon, I have 3 cousins that they are mayors. And I had 2 of my uncles. They served on Hafez Assad cabinet in Damascus, Syria. Why I'm saying that, it's not about me. Your charisma is absolutely contagious. I cannot stop going to the breakfast to hear you speak because I feel like I'm right at home. You are so personable. You have compassion. You have empathy, concerns. Your professionalism is absolutely, I have no word in the English language to say that about you. But I really appreciate you. I feel right at home when I go and I meet at the breakfast. And those mayors at the city of Austin, they could learn a lot from you. Thank you for everything. Welcome, Dale. I will be working with you next year, hopefully, on a lot of things, and council members and city manager, and hopefully the city attorney. He's going to run when he sees me come in. And and nice evening, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Tiramisu for everybody.
Mayor, we have no additional speakers.
Okay, moving on to committee and council reports. Let's go ahead And start with Casey.
So again, congrats, Mayor Welty. I think you're going to be an excellent leader for us. I'm super excited to work with you in this capacity. I don't have much to say other than what a great year, honestly. 2023, we did some bold things, and we continue to do that. I think the State of the City was amazing. You know, the horizon looks really good. What does Mark Terry always say? It's a great time to be a Canyon Laker, right? So I just want to say I look forward to 2024. I think it's going to be great. Merry Christmas to everyone, and Happy New Year.
Jen, let's move on down the.
I will keep it short also, but congratulations. I am also looking forward to working with our new mayor and new mayor pro tem. Although this seems like this was months and months ago, I want to thank everybody who came to our Veterans Day event. The veterans that were there, it was great to see all of them, great to see the community out there. I think every year we do this event, it gets bigger and bigger, and just want to thank everybody for coming out to that event. And on a more personal note, I want to thank the mayor for my new spot. It's warmer over here.
It is cold.
You're welcome. Wonderful. We'll get you a jacket. Jeremy?
I could say things about all the boards I serve on, RTA, SCAG, RCTC. I just want to, my comments are going to kind of echo Casey. It's been an incredible year. I'm looking forward to 2024. Dale, you're going to kill it. Mark Terry, you guys are going to kill it. You're going to be a great team. The one thing I didn't do that I want to do is personally thank the staff. All of you guys are absolutely incredible here in Canyon Lake, and I mean that. I've had the opportunity to do in and out with the staff the last couple of years, and it's been a great time to learn and get to know each and one of our staff members. And I just want to simply say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making us look good and being there for us. The resource that Canyon Lake staff provides to this council, I think far exceeds any big city, any day of the week, anytime, any place. And I truly want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. I'm going to leave my report short. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Terry?
I'd like to say congratulations to our new mayor, Dale Welty. I look forward to serving on council with you, and I think you're really good for our community. So congratulations, and I wish you all the best of luck. There is no community that embraces Christmas like Canyon Lake does. I'm going to go over my agenda just over the past, week and a half. I attended the Christmas tree lighting at the lodge, went very well. Rode in the Canyon Lake golf cart parade behind Beaver Dog. Had the opportunity to ride on the Green Dragon, and I hope everybody who was on the Green Dragon truly appreciated just how freaking awesome that was. I mean, you've watched this thing lead the parade since I've lived here, 23 years, and it really was an honor to have that opportunity. Council members Dane Castillo, I had the honor of, along with Councilmember Dane and Castillo, had the honor of lighting the city's Christmas tree this year. Went off flawlessly, Mike. And I also would like to, I know this is a really, really happy, great time for city staff. They just love when the holidays come around and you have all of these events. And I'll tell you what, you did a great job this year. I think all of our events grew, including Veterans Day. I noticed that there has been a larger attendance at all of our events this year. And so for all the time that you dedicated towards those events, plus taking all of our phone calls, it's very much appreciative. And to the residents of Canyon Lake, I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and enjoy time with your family. Thank you.
I'll kind of end this, and I'll be short. Ran a little long because of the presentation period. As mayor, I just want to let everybody know, and we'll get into different sessions, but I really am going to have two focuses this year. One, I really want to focus on this election year being kind of a neighborly thing this year, and that everybody respect each other, and everybody, kind of be nice to each other. I know democracies can be angry and boisterous, and things can happen, but everybody take a deep breath and just remember they're all your neighbors. The second bigger one that I want to do is I want to bring about a little bit of focus on the success of our children. We will have discussions about how sports affects the kids. I'd like to bring somebody in from the local college to talk about the local college and the opportunity for the kids. I would just like to talk about the programs that are available in Canyon Lake for kids. And I will tell you, we don't have to come to the community and say we need 10 million for facilities for our kids. We have incredible facilities. We just want to encourage the parents to get their kids involved. So you'll see a focus throughout the year on that, and it'll come in strange places and strange ways. But the theme will hopefully stay pretty consistent. That's my comments. Okay, moving on, consent calendar. Any council member would like to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item number 4, 6, 8, and 9. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to give you a hard time for your first meeting. If no one wants to pull anything, I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay. Now we go down to the business items. We have a public hearing. Okay. Well, I need to get my mallet, right? I have to go into my Mayor Road. Okay. Jeremy.
Just bang it and say you're going to open it at a certain time.
Bang it. I'm going to open the public hearing at 8:53.
Perfect.
Okay, we have a resolution amending the Canyon Lake citywide fee schedule relationship to assigning new addresses and introduction of first reading of ordinance number 241, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake of California, adding Chapter 14.02 to the Canyon Lake Municipal Code regarding new addresses, assignments, and the change of addresses.
Good job, Mr. Mayor.
And presenting is...
Tonight, we will have David Harnden from our Deputy Building Official come up and do a presentation. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David, for waiting. Sorry,
Good
man.
evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. First, I want to jump on the bandwagon. I want to thank you, Jeremy, for all you've meant to me personally and my professional, as well as my department. You've been a support, you've been an inspiration. And I don't have a certificate, but I do have a heartfelt thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, so the staff is presenting this resolution amending the Canyon Lake citywide fee schedule in relationship to assigning new addresses and introduction and first reading of Ordinance 241, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake, adding Chapter 14.02 to the Canyon Lake Municipal Code regarding new address assignments and change of addresses. The staff worked with the city attorney to draft a new municipal code, Chapter 14.02, to be added to the Canyon Lake Municipal Code regarding new address assignments and change address assignments as ordinance number 241. Chapter 14.02 grants authority to the building department to assign new addresses or to change existing addresses and to provide a consistent system for addressing which is easily recognizable by emergency response personnel and the public. As part of the implementation of this new process, the city must establish fees based on cost recovery to provide this service. In addition, staff has developed a recommended request form to assist in processing the request. As part of these discussions, the deputy building official received input from all the city departments affected by this ordinance, including the fire department, and implemented the changes necessary. On November 27, 2023, a public hearing notice was submitted to the Friday Flyer for a publication date of December 1st, 2023. Fee changes, if approved, will become effective February 9, 2024, and ordinance revisions will take effect 30 days after the final reading of January 10, 2024. Any comments or questions? Sure.
I just have one quick question. For entities such as Southern California Edison, when they're asking for it, are we able to charge them the fees too for the addresses?
We are.
Okay, good. That was it?
Yeah.
Good job, David. Thank you. I was just saying good job. You did, you know, because I don't have any questions because you did such a good job.
Maybe I don't.
Sorry, I said that. Dang it.
Then maybe I don't have an answer.
Do we know how many residents are possibly affected by this, that may have their address changed as a result that it is not in sequence for emergency purposes?
So that's a great question, and I've actually considered that in depth, because the thought of somebody having to go through all the trouble of changing their address on everything that they've ever done is overwhelming. I don't see that function as being something that relates to residences as much as it does to the town center. When they subdivide these commercial little things to fit more businesses in the same little space, that's where it's going to become more used. I really don't see it ever being done. Not that it can't be, something could come up. The way that it relates to the residential side of things is more the ADUs,
Yeah.
which means where you're going to have multiple structures on the same property. And for the purpose of the fire department mostly, I see the best option for that as being fractions. We'll use the initial and a half. That way they know exactly where to go, and they know that there's an ADU behind because it's a half. So they'll know, it's an immediate indication that this is an ADU. And it doesn't change any of the existing address that's already in place. So-
Right. And so when or if we were to, I know that a property owner may apply for an address change by submitting an address assignment, address change request application, and then paying the $242 fee. If you take that action, is that particular resident or business owner then liable for the $242?
So that's a great question too. So, like I said before, that particular function of the ordinance is probably going to be more related to the commercial side of things, which, because they're commercial and it's going to be their choice to subdivide, they will pay those fees. If a resident, I can't even see an opportunity to even use that function in that, but if it did, nowhere in this ordinance are we bound by being required to charge that fee. We have a history from our last fee study of the city subsidizing and/or waiving at our discretion, either at my discretion or the city manager's discretion or even the council's discretion.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, I do have it's the Mayor Pro Tem's fault because he's the one who brought it up. But I think you'll appreciate the conversation, David. ADUs, obviously, it's going to be new to Canyon Lake when it does happen. We currently do not have any ADUs, is that correct?
That's not true.
Okay, what do we have?
They're not finished, but
Okay.
there are actually 3 in the process of build right
Okay,
now.
so do we do lot splits on those?
We don't have to. We're not
Okay.
required to, but we also are not allowed to prevent it if they want to.
Okay, so this is even better. My question to you is what's our relationship or how's our process with EVMWD or EMWD in regards to ensuring that there's enough, sewage, water to supply that now new parcel that's going to have additional residents in it?
Great question. The advantage that we have is that the building, from the building department perspective, the building code specifically addresses this. And once you reach a certain number of devices or fixtures in your house, they call them plumbing or whatever, you can have unlimited. Once you get a bigger than a 5-inch, you can have unlimited. So it really doesn't affect at all. It's not going to have any effect at all, as long as the connection that's existing is a minimum of 4 inches. And from my experience so far, I've not seen one that isn't in the entire community.
So if we are doing an ADU project and I am now, got a lot with a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I'm going to put an ADU that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath because I have a 12,000 square foot lot or whatever the story might be, and I'm going to add, those additional 2 bathrooms or maybe 3 bathrooms, no concern in regards to at least our ordinance in place in regards to EVMWD or EMWD requesting for that?
None whatsoever. The easy response to that would be, if for some, there are a few houses I've seen that have a 3-inch main. In those cases, you would have to just run your, from the ADU, you'd have to run out and hit it before it hits the existing house. And at that point, there's no issue whatsoever. They're all plenty big enough and can handle whatever we throw at them.
Okay.
Sure.
And also, David, do you want to talk about our process too? Now with building permits, they also go to the Water District for review.
Yes, I think it was 4 or 5 months back, we got a request from El Segundo Valley Water directly asking us to require it, if any structure, and this was their language, any structure whatsoever, and they don't care if it's a retaining wall, they don't care if it's whatever it is, any structure is built on any property, anywhere on that property, they want us to require a release from them first.
So in regards to ADU, they would release?
Absolutely.
So, and that's why I asked the question, David, just because, speaking to Director Burke, obviously, as you know, Sacramento is literally grabbing water agencies and squeezing them by the neck right now and trying to do all they can to make, the agency's life absolutely miserable. So what's being told to us is obviously the change of water is going to happen and it's going to be more limited on the amount of flow, the type of sewer that they're looking at, and I think it's going to be a serious issue, and I'm concerned that how that's going to work with future ADUs, and if they're going to start putting limitations on some of the stuff that we're talking about, because they're mandated to ensure that there's only a certain amount of water going to each property, they're mandated on the sewage rates, they're mandated on how that sewage looks. So I'm just curious if that conversation's taking place in your department and with EVMWD or EMWD.
It hasn't yet, but that's a different conversation than what we spoke about a minute, because what you're talking about now is water availability as opposed to the sewer capability. The water availability, there are only 2 options you get on any house. You either have a 1/2-inch line or a 3/4-inch line. A 3/4-inch line is on the much bigger homes and on new development because they're required to have sprinklers. The old ones don't. ADUs are, because of the limitations on the size they're allowed to be, would never exceed 1/2 inch. So the bigger question isn't about availability of water, it's more about water pressure, because we only have so much pressure in our community. And if we continue to draw off that, at some point, we're gonna have to start putting regulators on or something to increase the pressure in our homes. Otherwise, we'll have dripping showers, which is no fun.
I apologize to my colleagues as I continue. This is my last statement in this regards. Do you believe, because I know in the city of Fullerton, or it might have been the city of Orange, ADUs was a huge issue for this community in Orange County, so they used ways to fight back on it because they were concerned about dense parking. Part of the tactic has been partnering with their local water supplier and not allowing or red flagging some of these projects, indicating that pressure or other water needs is going to be a concern. If EVMWD or EMWD on an ADU project said that, no, we can't do this, or we don't like this, or whatever, what do we do to that applicant who's applying for this project?
So that's a challenge, because when I started in this industry and they first started the ADU requirements, there were so many loopholes that you could get around. Corona used to have we're going to require everybody to have a garage. We're going to make it a requirement. You have to have a garage. So that means if you have a garage, you can't have an ADU because the garage takes up that space. Over the years that I've been in the industry, I have watched the state close every single loophole. There's no more. There's no more loopholes. Their language now in the ADU requirements are you must, period. So that would be a difficult conversation for us to have because if they're not going to give them water, I don't think that we still have the ability to prevent them from building it. I don't see any legal way that we could stop them. I think if the water district told them, go ahead, you don't have any water, but you can build if you want, that would be their conversation. It wouldn't be ours.
Okay. I could go on, but I'm done. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
presentation and a discussion tied up in our little 2 minutes.
Yeah, no trouble.
And it's very complex, so,
Yeah.
but thank you. Any
Yeah.
other questions?
All right. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions by, okay, testimony by proponents?
Mayor, we have none.
Testimony by opponents?
We have none.
Response by proponents?
We have none.
We'll close the hearing, and I have to look at the clock, and Mark's like 9:06. Okay, discussion by city council. Any further discussion?
Oh, good job, David.
Okay,
I'll call the motion. Unless there's public comment.
and we have no
Cool.
proponents, no opponents, so no public
I'll call the
comment.
motion.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, on to business items. Okay, we have a presentation by the city manager. Go ahead and take on the introduction of the reading of ordinance 242.
Thank you, Mayor Welty. Tonight, the item before you is the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 242 in regards to the regulation of docks. As you all are aware, back in April of 2022, the city did put in place an urgency ordinance placing a moratorium on docks within the city of Canyon Lake. Subsequently, a draft ordinance was created. I should say the urgency ordinance was extended for a year, and then in March of last year, or February of last year, I should say, or this year, sorry, February of this year, an ordinance was presented to the city council that outlined some pretty stringent regulations around docks. It wasn't a very popular ordinance in the community. There were some concerns from the Property Owners Association as well as the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water Districts. At that time, the city council established an ad hoc committee with Councilmember Terry as well as Mayor Pro Tem Welty to take a look with staff at the ordinance, really try to understand what our community needs in terms of dock regulation and what was reasonable for our staff, our time, and our resources, as well as what was expected from our partners of the Property Owners Association as well as the Water District. So we did that. We had several meetings with the committee. We did meet at the staff level with the Property Owners Association staff, as well as with the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. We sought feedback from multiple individuals to try to understand what the real issues were in the community. And what we found is there's really 3 areas that were of significant concern across all those conversations. The first was superstructures, which is broadly defined in the ordinance, but really is saying anything with a second floor on your dock would be prohibited here in the city of Canyon Lake. And this is intentional because the lake is not huge. It is not designed or we do not want stanchions going into the ground or the bottom of the reservoir that is our lake. And there's just a lot of complexities that would come along with a superstructure here in Canyon Lake. And currently, I should mention that there are rules and regulations in place from the Water District in terms of materials that they work with the Property Owners Association on. In fact, there's also a whole process and approval with the Property Owners Association as well for docks. So again, the city thought, in all of that, there is no regulation for these superstructures. That was a gap that's missed in all these different approvals by different agencies, so we felt that was worthwhile to include in our dock ordinance. In addition, we currently do not require electrical permits for docks. This is problematic in terms of public safety, right? If folks aren't wiring their docks properly, water and electricity do not mix. It's very dangerous, and while I'm sure everybody has licensed contractors do work on their docks, we want to ensure that. And so one of the things we did include is the requirement for an electrical permit. In talking with the Property Owners Association, they have stated that they would be supportive of looking at doing conditional approvals. So when they're going through the process with our residents to look at a dock for approval, they would give them that conditional approval with the guys that they have to come to our staff. They have to come to the city and get that electrical permit before they can proceed. So anytime they see any electrical component, we would then have them coming to us. In addition, we did include some language in the ordinance related to extension cords in the water, which also is very dangerous and not something we should be doing. That was a concern that was raised and again isn't regulated by any of the other agencies. That's something that obviously is difficult for us as staff. We don't have a boat that's readily available to be patrolling the waters. But what we can do is if we get complaints or anyone in the community notices any significant safety concerns in terms of electrical, they can contact us, and we now have a mechanism to ensure we address the safety concern. And lastly, just general standards on making sure that our docks are in good condition. They're being well maintained. Not too much specificity or process like inspections, which was originally proposed, but this gives us an ability to be able to address docks that may not be to the standard that would be expected. In addition to the Property Owner Association, who also has the ability to enforce against dilapidated docks, for example. So again, really the intention there would be if we're getting a complaint, maybe the Property Owners Association is struggling with a particular dock, then we would respond appropriately within the ordinance. As you can see, there's pretty strict violations that have been included in the ordinance. Our intent is to bring this forward to the City Council now, get something in place that we can see if it works for us and our community. We have shared this with the Property Owners Association as well as the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District for feedback. No significant concerns were raised, but we did tell them if they do see additional concerns that the city should consider, then we'd be happy to relook at our ordinance, and that goes for our community as well. If there are issues that are raised that haven't been addressed, we can always bring this back at a later date and reevaluate some additional areas of concern for the city. So that concludes my presentation. Welcome your questions.
Mr. Mayor, I have a few questions, if I may. You have to give me permission.
Yes, go ahead.
Cool, thank you. I had the opportunity of speaking to Director Burke on this very item, along with President Bill Van Vliet. Both of them had the opportunity to talk to their general managers. They gave the green light on this, and they wanted to also echo the hard work that was done by the committee. I think you guys did a phenomenal job on what we see here before. The only person that I have not talked to yet in regards to this ordinance is obviously David. This falls under your department, my friend. So you've done such a good job on the public hearing. I'm now going to ask of you a couple questions in regards to ordinance number 242. I just want to know if you like this as well, because I know that you were kind of interworking with the committee. I know that your department is going to be enforcing this, so I just want to get the thumbs up, green light from you.
You have my thumbs up. Actually, I think this is a great start. I can't say enough about it because of a couple different things. One, it's very non-restrictive. It's as much hands-off as we can be, while at the same time, it shows the need that we have as a council, as a city manager, and as a building department to keep our residents safe. So I'm interested to see where it goes. Yeah. Like we said, this is a great launching spot. It's going to be kind of as we go along, we're going to learn a lot more, and we'll adjust as needed. But it's a great starting point. Yes. I
love the fact it's like you said, it's kind of a living, breathing document that will adjust as need be. Yeah. The only question I have for our city manager and obviously David is that we get a call, a dock is just brutally damaged. It's causing issues. It's starting to become dilapidated, and the residents are not being responsive. What do we do?
Great. I've got about a half a dozen on my desk waiting for this to be enacted. Our first step is going to be Ruby. We're going to reach out to Ruby Code Enforcement, and we're
Okay.
going to ask her to go out and cite them. And the purpose of the citation is to get them in to come and to talk to me.
Perfect.
And then we're going to have a conversation. We're going to try to find a common way to make it safe and/or remove it, whatever is in the best interest of the city as well as the applicant. or
Thanks to the city
homeowner.
manager, I knew that, but for the residents who are listening, if you have a dock that is dilapidated or have any issues, you will be getting a notification from code enforcement because we don't want to do that compliant, and we don't want Darcy Burke to yell at us because she's in charge of that stuff and making sure our water's clean. So thank you, I appreciate the thumbs up. Thank you,
You're
Mr. Mayor.
And just to be clear, really quick on that question, I just want to make sure it's clear. So the Property Owners Association actually has the power to remove the dock. So our ordinance doesn't actually give us that power, but we can work through the Property Owners Association in partnership on these dilapidated docks. And most of the time, we're probably going to hear about it from the POA when people are non-responsive. Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding is that they have a, Shelley, their inspector, she goes out every Thursday in the boat and just looks for this kind of thing on the water. And this is where we'll get probably most of our complaints, will be from that.
Thank you.
So can I?
Go ahead.
Real quick. So when the POA is driving around and inspecting, then they'll reach out to our code enforcement?
They'll
It
reach
goes
out to
from
me,
there?
and/or.
Okay.
It could be to either me. Actually, I think the best option there would be to create a process. And that's something I can work out with Ruby, whether maybe it's a form we create, or maybe it's just a email or something, but we'll create a process with POA for that.
Okay, yeah, because that was going to be my question. Is Ruby going to be out patrolling the docks, or
No.
it'll come as a complaint from
Yeah.
somebody or some
Yeah,
entity?
That's
Okay.
correct. And probably, I think what would be best would be, since Shelley's not really qualified necessarily to identify what is actually something that is dilapidated and/or dangerous. So maybe she'll see something and then she'll reach out to me or send me an email and say, Dave, would you mind coming out with me? And maybe then I would come out with her and identify if it's actually a danger or a real concern. And then from there, we would go through the process.
Mr. Mayor, at this point in time, it's the Property Owners Association. This is still under their responsibility, correct?
Correct. They have a process in place, correct.
Right.
That we're not touching.
And their question to us was that we're having a difficult time keeping up, but more importantly, they could go cite somebody, find somebody for a dock that is not in good condition. I think it spells it out here, hazard to public welfare, navigation, or water quality, correct?
Right.
This is still in their ballpark in regards to, they're still patrolling and looking, is this correct?
That's correct.
All right, so they then would go to the dock owner and say, you are not in compliance, issue whatever work order they're asking them to take care of, and if you don't do this, then we'll go ahead and we'll fine you. I know that's not.
Yeah, so my understanding, and this is just my understanding of the, based on conversations I've had with the POA. My understanding is the concern that they've had up till now hasn't been that they are unable to cite. It's
Okay.
been more that they are unable to enforce.
Yes.
So this, I would guess that the concerns would stay the same. They would probably begin the process, and then when it reaches a point where they can enforce and there's no response from, then they would come to us and we would use our enforcement abilities.
And that's really it. It's just an additional tool in our tool chest as a community to try to address docks. And we won't be the first ones issuing citations, right? The POA would be doing that first. When they've exercised all of their options, they could turn to us. Now, in conversations with the Property Owners Association, there have been discussions that they have the ability to remove docks, as I shared. So under their self-help program, Dell knows about that, but you know, if somebody had to remove the dock, they can do that. They admitted that they could be better at doing that, and that's something that we can work with them on and saying, okay, now we've given our citation as well. we're proactively encouraging them to move forward. And they have mechanisms in place to do that. And it didn't seem necessary for us to also have those.
Right.
If it doesn't work out, though, we'll come back.
So you say you have 12 of these on your desk. Where did those come from?
Well, actually.
And when I take it, that would be a complaint about somebody's dog.
Correct. It usually comes in the form of an email with pictures. I've gotten a couple from the POA. I've gotten one from the Chief Latendresse. He was at an event and ran across one. I've gotten a couple from homeowners who have been looking at this atrocious thing for months, kind of thing.
But their first call should still be to the POA.
Yes, so. That would be my response.
First line of action would be from the POA.
Correct. My initial response would be, have you reached out to the POA regarding this? When I spoke to there's a gentleman who lives off of Point Marina, and he looks across the bay and he sees this same dock that's been there years, he says. Elderly gentleman, really nice fellow. But he told me that he has talked to the POA. I asked him initially, have you spoken to the POA about it? Because they're the first ones you need to go to. He said, I've already spoken to them. I'm getting no response. Nobody calls me back, blah, blah, blah. Okay, if you've already done that, then what I would do is I would call Shelley and say, Shelley, there's a guy who's saying that this has been like this for a long time. He says he's tried to reach out to you guys. You've not responded. Would you mind going by and taking a look and at least respond to the guy? And then from there, it would be kind of in their ballpark. And based on what their response and whatever their process allows them to do, it would determine how we respond. Yeah.
Because I believe the intent of the committee was not to take over their responsibilities.
Right. That's right. We want to be more hands-off as possible.
Right. I mean, we're public safety issue being in regards to pulling an electrical permit.
Right.
Anytime that you want to run electrical, that was not in place prior. It is now in place, which I think is common sense. And then I think we bring in the violations as a tool, almost a last resort tool. If the POA has gone out and, issued a citation, issued a fine, find out they're getting absolutely no response, and which, I understand that they probably are owed over $1 million in fines, right?
So I've heard.
So what our violation portion of this ordinance allows for is the ability to assist them in maybe getting something done when they cannot. Is that
Correct.
your understanding of it?
The Building and Safety Department has always been, number one priority of the Building and Safety Department is life safety.
Right.
Always has been, always
Right.
will be. The entire code was written around that. So that's what this will be. I'm not going to go out if there's a dilapidated dock because somebody just doesn't like looking at it. When it becomes a big enough eyesore, a big enough problem, and it changes from an inconvenience to a life safety problem, the building department will get involved.
Okay. I just hope the POA, Property Owners Association, isn't looking like we don't have to deal with docks anymore.
Right. And that's not the
I think that's
expectation. It's a
important.
partnership.
Because we
right?
don't have the staff to
Correct.
to go out and every time someone calls in, go out and take a look at it. That is still,
Yeah.
my understanding, their responsibility, and I would like to know back if they are not responding.
Well, we have an upcoming meeting in December here, in a week or two, with the POA leadership. And all these things will be discussed, and not just discussed, but also these items like you're expressing right now will be made clear to them. These are what we expect, these are what we are going, this is what our line of defense is, and this is how we see it playing out. We're not taking over this. This is something that you're going to continue to do. We are only here as a last resort, or if it becomes a life safety issue.
You feel good about that?
Yeah, I do. We had really good meetings with them. In my communications to them and sharing the ordinance, I reminded them of the conversations. No feedback negative from that. So I'm confident that it's a partnership, right? This is one of those opportunities we get to see if this partnership can work well, and I think it will. Yeah, I'm confident.
I'm expecting, I agree with the city manager on this, based on our conversations with them. I think it's clear what we expect from them and what they expect from us and how this is supposed to work. I think everybody's pretty clear. So, like I said, it's a living, like you mentioned, it's a living thing. So we can move it on the fly if we need to, and if we see an inconsistency in the understanding, we can address that at any time. So this is a good starting point. This is a great place to launch.
And just the last thing, I want to be clear that, the city is not in the dock business. That's not what we're in, and I want to make it very clear to the residents that we weren't brought this forward, at least my understanding, by the committee, to get into the dock business. And that's why I value your opinion in this, because I know that you have seen firsthand, along with the chief and others, that we do have electrical issues when it comes to water and obviously docks. And that's why I think that this ordinance is relevant for the city. But I think we need to make it clear, and you're doing that tonight, and so is the city manager, that the city is not in the dock business. So
That's right.
Thank you.
Our number one priority is life safety. We're here to protect the community, and that's all we're here to do. We're not here to oppress them or cause any undue costs or financial strain or anything. We're here to protect them. That's it.
Okay, I have a comment.
Yes.
Signs, we had.
Signs.
Signs. So it says you need a sign to be visible for 20 feet away from the shore side. I have an equal concern for the water side.
It says from all approaches, actually, not just from the water side. It says from all approaches.
From all approaches?
Yes.
Oh, maybe I was thinking of an old one. But I wanted to show you a sign. I don't know if the people out there can see it. You see that sign?
Yeah.
You think you could see it from 20 feet in the reasonable?
Well, here's the thing. I wish I'd have brought it. Do we have a copy of the actual one that we're going to be using? Because, and this is another comment that the city manager and I have been going over the last couple of days, because she went onto a site similar to where you got that. And there's half a dozen different language ways the building code is very clear on what it has to say. It's very clear on how big the letters have to be. It's very clear on the durability of the sign. It's very clear. So if we do it according to the building code, they'll see it from 20 feet, no problem. There's a warning sign that has to be across the top, and the letters have to be a minimum of 2 inches. If we follow the code requirements, seeing it from 20 feet is not a problem.
Are we providing the signs at a fee?
We are, and that's another great question. We discussed that in length too, because at first we were thinking, why don't we just let them get the sign? But we don't want non-compliant signs. We want them all to be compliant. So yes, today, actually, Mike ordered a big bundle of them. So we're gonna provide the signs. When they come and get the permit for the electrical permit, we will incur the cost of the sign only, and include that as part of their permit.
On the bottom, it says approved by Nicole Daly and David.
It actually just
Just kidding.
It actually just has the code section.
Love it.
So,
Thank you.
second question is a sign question. I'm obsessed with signs.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be on an 8-foot pole hanging up in the air. It can be on the
Line of sight is the best option.
line of sight. It could be on the fascia of the dock.
It can. You can put it on a pole. You can put it on a sign. You can put it on one of the poles on your dock, one of the supporting poles of your canopy.
If you have a canopy, you
Sure.
can but you can put it on the fascia also.
Sure.
Really, I think a fascia really kind of, the people coming up on their, swimming up would be more likely to see one on the fascia than they would 8 feet in the air. And,
Yeah.
but it
There's
could-
no requirement on the height of the sign or nothing like that. There's none.
So you just need to be reasonably visible, so to
Correct.
speak.
Has to
And-
be reasonably line of sight, so it's intended to warn. Yeah.
I love that. I love the fact you're getting the signs. I love the fact it's all approaches. Then you don't like communication to be poor. Don't want people buying 8 signs and they're all wrong. And
Right.
so I think this is the right way to do it. And thank you
I agree. Thank you.
for your effort and the staff for everything they
Good.
did. I think
You're
this
welcome.
came out well.
Anybody else? You're looking at me kind of funny. You got something? You were going to clap.
I'm so happy it's done,
All right. Do we have any public comment cards? I believe the staff is.
Mayor, we do not.
Okay. Can I get a motion in a second?
I'm going to second Mark Terry's motion because he wants to make it.
Motion.
And I'll second it. I know the hard work that the two of you have done on this, so thank you, seriously.
All right, let's go with the roll call.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
All right, it's great. That would put that one to bed. The next item is the appointment of delegates to the regional agencies for 2024. Cheryl, you're going to
Try
give
to
the
make this
presentation?
quick for you. So, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, what you have before you right now is the regional agency assignment list for 2024. Included in your staff report is the current list with a proposed revision, and that is to the Western Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority, the RCA. Staff is recommending that Mayor Pro Tem Terry be the delegate and Mayor Welty be the alternate on that. We don't have any additional changes. We welcome any comments or a motion to approve the list.
We on business item 12 or 13?
Did I do it backward?
Yep.
12.
Cool. Let's talk about, oh, because that we're on, okay. Just
That's
wanna make
12,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll motion.
I'll
Got a second?
Cool.
I'm sorry, second was?
Give it to Terry.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane? Aye. Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, item 13, appointment of council members to standing and ad hoc committees. Another presentation by City Clerk Garcia.
And similar to what you just heard, what you have before you tonight is our current list of standing and ad hoc committees. Included in your staff report is the current list with one suggested revision, which was to remove the dock ordinance, since you just considered that.
Yeah, that's Steven's request to fire that dang committee.
So if we don't have any revisions, we would welcome a motion.
So moved.
To approve, okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Good job, guys.
Any
Second.
public- We have to ask public comment cards, any of those coming?
No public comments.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Sorry.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Good job.
Passes 5-0.
It's first night, we'll figure it out.
I heard Welty, right?
Good job.
Okay, my favorite part of the evening is the city manager comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I just want to take a moment and first thank former Mayor Smith. Once a mayor, always a mayor, so I'm going to still call you Mayor Smith. Thank you so much for the opportunity you've given me here in the city of Canyon Lake. I'm grateful for it, and I think I've already learned a lot from you. I could echo all the things people said tonight because they're all true, and I know you're still going to be a great, important part of this council, but I'm just grateful for your support and leadership to me. So, thank you. And Mayor Welty, congratulations on your appointment. It's going to be a fun year. We're going to learn together. And I look forward to the journey with you as we go into this next year. And Mark Terry, you're taking on a newer role. I think you're going to be tremendous in the role. And overall, I do have to say this council is special. I think this month you will see how some cities are going through. We've been talking about their reorganizations and what that tells us about the city and how they're really doing. And these relationships are critical to be able to do bold moves and make really good decisions for staff as well as the council. This is ideal. So celebrate this. Remember how it feels to work together and be supportive of one another, supportive of staff, because that goes so far in being able to do things in government. And that is our job, right? I think we heard a lot tonight about the importance of serving the community and doing what's best for the residents, and this allows that. So I just want you all to be recognized for how well you do work together. I also want to take a moment to thank staff for Winter Wonderland. There's not many left. You mentioned the events. It's been very busy for us. We're excited for the next couple of months of no events, but this will give us some time to work on some other things. Mike especially.
Mike. Yes.
But staff works very hard, and we're appreciative of them and what they do for those. And then lastly, I just want to say Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Happy holidays
Love it.
and Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you. Got to get that, there, that's better. All right, announcements. The next regular city council meeting will be held Wednesday, January 10th, 2024, and we will come and we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all. Merry Christmas.